What is going on, people? Go ahead, give me that number one to let me know that you can see me, that you can hear me, that I'm not actually sitting here talking to myself, which would be quite sad if I say so myself. Just want to check some ones popping off. Hopefully, everybody had a fantastic week. Okay, I see some ones popping off. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sarah Mia first right off the gate, right out the gate. KM Gilbertson, Mama Squirrel. Thank you guys so much. Kathy Ferran in the house. Lynn Skinner, what's up? What's up? Danny Towns. Hey, how you doing? Everybody's here. Everybody's here. Okay, just so people know, normally we had a special guest who was rocking out with us. Uh the wonderful, the esteemed Miss Jenny from Senior Perspective. She was not able to make it tonight. And I got to tell you, she was saying that, normally she kind of gets blocked out of doing anything that had to do with Robyn. For some reason, the schedule didn't work out where she could actually join in the guest spot. And I had a chance to actually read through this chapter and I see what she was talking about. So what I decided to do was I'm going to hold off doing reviewing the specific chapter till next week. We might touch on some of the things that are in the chapter for a specific reason tonight, but we'll really get into the becoming sister wives next week when Jenny is able to join. Just because she had rode with us for so long, she kind of sludged it out with some of the other sister wives and some of the other chapters, and to deny her the Robyn chapter it just doesn't sit right. So that's what I decided to do. Now, in Christy, I'll tell you in a second, Christy. Um, just so we're clear, what I'm doing is in light and in spirit of the what if Robyn was actually a good person? What if she was that person whom we've just as audience members, we read it wrong. We looked at her, we assumed that she was one type of person, maybe because of common sense. Well, we'll say just because of our personal baggage, we looked at ourselves and we said, this is something that's happened to me in the past. And usually it was somebody who was like Robyn who did me dirty. Now I'm going to blame Robyn for all the things that she did to me. Right? So I wanted to I'm gonna I'm gonna do what so many movie directors and producers ask the audience to do now. I'm gonna I'm gonna shut off my brain and I'm gonna ignore a lot of the things that happened on the show, which led me to believe that she was in fact behind a lot of the foolishness, that she's not this innocent lamb who's being taken advantage by these evil three older women who are just manipulating her and trying to make her look bad so that they can get all the fame on the TV show. I'm gonna just pretend like none of that is true, and I'm going to try to give a fair assessment. I want to try to be fair, people. Can we be fair? Okay. Fair is not just the event that you go to at the church where you got the creepy clowns and the rides that, if one of the roller coasters go off the track, they'll pack that damn circus or that carnival or fair up faster so fast that your cart won't even hit the ground by the time they out of there. You'll be seeing nothing but tail lights as you going through your third or fourth rotation on the ground on that broken ass roller coaster. So we're going to be fair, all right, or at least try not to be. He said, we can be fair. We can be fair. It's not a problem. The problem is see, me saying that, I'm going to take a step back. I think that the audience members were fair. I think that they were fair. Just because you get a result that you don't like doesn't mean that the people aren't fair. and they aren't fairly assessing your situation. You just don't like the result. Let's be very clear about that. Okay. I don't think that the audience members were being cruel. I don't think they were being evil. I don't think they were trying to be mean to Robyn. I don't think they were trying to hurt her feelings. I just think that for the most part, the fan base looked at the screen and the information that was provided to us, and we made assessments based on the information that we were given. Now, if you don't like the information that's provided, you don't like the information that's given, then it's up to you. This is any one of the stars of the show, whether it's Mary, Christine, Janelle, Kody, or yes, even Robyn. If you don't like how you're being presented on this show, it is up to you to either make fundamental changes with regard to how the producers are presenting you, or make the ultimate decision that you are no longer going to do the show. Now, there have been cast members who decided not to do the show anymore, or I should say, subcast members, co stars, like the supporting cast, the kids. There are a lot of the kids don't do the show anymore. I'm speaking. Well, I'm not even going to holler their name out because they're not part of the show. And out of my personal I don't, from my personal side, or at least on this channel, I try not to talk about people who don't want to be talked about. And as far as I'm concerned, if you are a part of the show, then it's fair game for me to talk about you. But if you choose not to be on the show any longer, then I'll pull up and I'll leave you alone. Oh, KM Gilbertson, let's see what you got to say. Just it just pops up in colors. That's why I picked you up, KM Gilbertson, with a $20 super chat. Not sure how I feel about the new Last Maybe season, but glad to see that people were willing and eager to donate to the Free Janelle Brown Fund 2024. She can build her legacy in Carolina far away. And that's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, KM Gilbertson. Let me give you that. Hold on one second. Gotta rock it out. Thank you so much for the generosity. And yes, I 100% agree. I think that, like, everything aside, even with us giving the benefit of the doubt to Robyn, I think that we should acknowledge the fact that this very well, like this whole thing, no matter how you cut it, like Sister Wives as a whole is kind of coming to a close. Unless something crazy happens in the next year or two, there's nothing really for them to talk about, because any conversation that Kody and Robyn and the three sister wives, the OG3 would be completely manufactured for the show. They have absolutely zero reason to contact one another, other than maybe like family events and things of that nature. This is the equivalent of when you break up or you get divorced. Like, and this is saying that they were married, legitimately married. When you get divorced, your kids are the only thing holding you together. Your kids are the only reason why you would contact each other, why you would look at each other's emails and so on and so forth. That's the only reason. The only reason. Other than that, you don't have business with one another. It would be so fake if all of a sudden Christine and Kody and them are sitting in the same room and they just happen to get into an argument. What are you doing in the same room? Other than maybe it's something to do with one of the kids. But beyond that, like after a while, even the kids will be tired of, like, if you can't show up and be peaceable and get along and enjoy my day, and you got to turn my special day or my event, or more importantly, my kids' event. Like if it's my kids' graduation or something to do with my kids, a birthday party for one of my children, and you can't show up and be peaceable and show some kind of courtesy to one another in respect of my child, then you don't need to come. And that's how the real world works. That's how the real world works. If you show up and you want to start flipping over tables and breaking bottles, then yeah, you can keep your ass at home. And I am happy with the fact that Janelle was able to secure some money for herself, set some money aside, and make moves solo and away from the mess that is the Brown family finances. I appreciate, and I so love the fact that she was able to get herself her own situation down in North Carolina that has nothing to do with Kody, nothing to do with the Brown family, nothing to do with Robyn, or nobody else's name is on anything except for the people whom she wants to partner with, her kids. Like, so she has Madison is her name appears on the deed, as well as her husband name appears on the deed, and they're going to do this business together, which is awesome. That's a legacy, because like I said in my video, I don't know if you guys saw my video that I talked about this specifically, but one of the great things is that I remember episode after episode when her kids used to go to see Kody grandpa win, or the uncle, because the uncle took the property down there with Cody's dad when his brothers took it. But when they used to go to the property and they used to do the horse stuff, and they played cowboys for the summer and was working a ranch, they came back and they were so excited about that. And that was one of the things that was part of their upbringing, part of their legacy, and part of the thing that bound them to the family and was a great adventure for them when they were kids. Janelle now has that for herself. The kids can go out hiking, they can walk the property, 156 acres. That's a lot of walking. Okay. It's a lot of walking. They can hike the hell out of that property all summer, go out and play, go crazy, and have a great time for the summer. And that's Janelle's. That's all Janelle's. Now, I'm not saying that she should just let go of the her her investment in Coyote Pass. I'm not saying that. She should get what she's due and owed in Coyote Pass. And if Mary put in enough money to where she could get more than 2 acres, she should get her fair share as well. That's just my take. Somebody asked a question about my court channel. I will be dropping my court channel very shortly. I had to get some things in order. Some stuff was happening around the house I had to take care of, my honeydew list and all that. But the court channel, I've been doing some videos. I've been cutting videos up so I can put them out. It should be a good time. I'm also, I think, tied into that channel, which is going to be my take on family court. Tied into that channel, just as an update, I'm also going to do slight reviews on reality shows that have to do with the criminal justice system and or legal affairs. So, because like it or not, I call it family court, but in my mind, anytime you go to court, especially when it deals with prison terms, sentencing, criminal justice, even that affects the family. So I'm going to include a lot of that. So one of the targets that I'm using is actually going to be Love After Lockup. That season just started, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to say about that. So keep your antennas up. I'll post it on Facebook when I drop the start dropping videos for that. I'm going to try to drop smaller videos. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the mic. I'm going to try to drop smaller videos for Sister Wives during the week, so it's not just the lives. And I'm also going to run those videos for the channel, the other channel, My Take on Family Court. So keep your eyes out for those. And like I said, I'll keep notices up on Facebook, and I will try to make a post on my Take on Reality website. All right. Thank you, Kathy. I try to be a good time. Try to have fun. You know. Keep it light. Spicy Rita. I'm betting Janelle left with a copy of the books. She'd be a fool not to. Oh, I would have took the books too. That would have been the first thing I'd have packed. That would have been at the bottom of my suitcase. That would have been the first thing that went in there. Do you watch behavior prank? Park or prank? The behavior prank? No, I haven't seen that. I'll check it out. I haven't seen that. Let me see hold on one second. Okay. Looks like some folks are interested in joining the live. If you guys are interested in joining live, historically I was saying that you guys would have to put your faces up on up on the screen. I realize some folks might not be in a situation, maybe you don't have the lighting and the cameras and all that stuff. You don't feel comfortable with it, which is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put up the link after I run through my stuff talking about Robyn. You guys can come in, and all I'm going to ask is you can just put the link in and Just have your camera when you come up in the backstage, and then once I get ready to click you on, I'm gonna come off. I'll tell you that I'm ready to bring you up. I'll announce that I'm going to bring you up. Just turn your camera off, and then we can hear your voice, and then everything will be lovely. I just want to make sure that we don't have any trollers coming through, because sometimes people try to kick over your table at the picnic. You know what I mean? So we're gonna try to keep it live and funky and fun. But yeah, let's get it. I'm with you. I watched Love After Lockup. She said she loved Love After Lockup since it came out. I haven't been a fan that long, but I caught up maybe like the second, third season. I gotta tell you, foolish. That shit is crazy. I watched that. I'm like, what? I'm sitting the whole time. If you guys ain't familiar with Love After Lockup, there was somebody when I first started my channel, I recommended Love After Lockup. I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure out how the seasons or whatever worked. Just jump in on the most recent season, because you don't have to get the backstory to catch up with the foolishness. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And there's so many, like what I really wanted to talk about Love After Lockup just before we get into the Robyn stuff, because it's coming. What made me interested in doing the Love After Lockup stuff is because there are so many points that we could talk about with regard to how people, when they go to jail, how it not only affects them, but how it affects the people around them, how it affects your family. And I particularly look at that and I focus on that because uh anytime like I talk to a young person or whatever, there's a sense of invulnerability, and the whole idea of the YOLO mindset, that you only live once, so I could get to do whatever I want to do as crazy as I want to do it, and it doesn't matter what I do because it's me and it's my decision. But there's a ripple effect, and I think that that's important to talk about, like the ripple effect. When you go to jail, your friends don't go to jail with you. You may have one or two close friends who might feel bad about you going to jail, but the people who care about you are doing that time with you. So when you say it doesn't matter what you do or it doesn't matter how you conduct yourself, you have to realize that you are impacting other people. Because when you're sitting there in the jail cell and you up all night because you hear the screams and the yells and the people going bananas in the jailhouse, things are happening. You know, your family is at home, and your mama, like think about your parents, they up at night too, scared, and they don't know what's happening to you. They won't know that you're okay until they get a phone call from you and hear that you're okay. And then when you hang up the phone, they go right back to worrying. So there's that mindset, and there's a lot of different things like that that I wanted to talk about with regard to the Love After Lockup series. So if you guys want to come and check that out, it will be on my channel, My Take on Family Court, and we're gonna talk about it. All right. Uh yeah, Lynn Skinner. They I tell them that all the time. Yeah, yeah, because it's important. You don't understand. Because I remember what it's like. I remember what it's like to be a young man, just because I got these white whiskers. I remember what it's like, and you think that, you nothing can happen to you. And if it does happen to you, oh well, it's your life, you know. But you break your mama's heart running wild, you know. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about this foolishness. Why we gathered here today. We're gonna preach. We're gonna gather here today and talk about Robyn, the forgotten one. Now, one of the things that really kind of trips me out when I think about Robyn and how she conducts herself, how she deals with her situations, there's a few things that we have to take into account when it comes to her, right? She and Kody, like for instance, in the last, was it look back, the the FUBAR episodes that TLC released right after the last season came out, season 18 came out, they had a point where uh Rob, Christine had said something about Robyn and how, she was being ridiculous. And Kody says, Robyn says to Kody, well, if they think I would do that, then they don't know me. And then Kody was like, yeah, nobody knows you, Robyn. Wah, wah, wah. Like it's so ridiculous, right? I was gonna pull a clip, but I was like, to hell with it. Because like I can the crazy thing about Kody and Robyn, like there are so many clips that you could just pull and clown the shit out of them all day. Like I could spend the entire time of this live just clowning the hell out of them. I'm not going to because, like I said, I'm trying to be fair. And it's the title of this show is called "What If Robyn Is the Hero." So let's take it from that perspective. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit of stretch of the imagination. This is me using my creative side a little bit, me ignoring a lot of things, me ignoring a lot of things. So here we go. Thank you, Mama Squirrel. Mama Squirrel said I do the clips better than Kody and Robyn. I try. I try to put on my thespian cap. Thank you. Yeah. So with let's start from the beginning. When they first started doing the show, Robyn will take the position that she joined the Brown family. She fell in love with Kody. She fell in love with the family. And more than Kody, she fell in love with the idea of having sister wives. She wanted to make sure that her kids could experience the majesty of having this huge family, this large nuclear family, that if something were to happen to her, there would be other women who would step into her place seamlessly because they had been involved with her kids as sister wives. Not only would they be women who are married to her husband, but these women would be her best friends. Now, if that were the case, it sounds noble. When Kody talks about Robyn, one of the things that he's been professing and saying to the camera and on the couch to the other wives, one of the arguments that he uses with the other wives as he's talking about their relationship with Robyn, one of the things that he constantly says is simply, she's sweet. She came into the family selflessly. She tried to give of herself to bring people in. She's always tried to look out for the best interest of the family. She's always put us first. She's done things and she's made sacrifices to be here, and you guys don't appreciate the sacrifices that she's making because you're all selfish and you're shit sister wives, because she is the ideal person to be a sister wife. All she ever wanted to do was be a sister wife. And that's what Kody has said to us about Robyn's involvement. Now, some of you, some of you are going to say, oh, let's see. Some of you are saying Robyn never let the OG3 discipline, spend time, not even watch over her kids. She didn't want the loyalty shifted. Now, wow, Lizzie B. What's up, Lizzie B? Thank you for moderating for me. Lizzie B makes a point. What? I thought you wanted them to be so close to your family. But Robyn would make the argument that, oh, I did want them to be close. I wanted them to have that relationship with my kids. But it seems like they were cut off from me and they were being nasty. And my kids were always on the outside and they were always being picked on. My kids were always being picked on by these bullies, which are the Brown family. They're the Brown family bullies. That's what we were presented with. What if she was right? Maybe because some kids are rough. Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like the one thing I've always appreciated about Janelle's kids, because that's probably who she was talking about. That's probably who she was talking about. The one thing I've always appreciated about Janelle's kids, like it, love it, or hate it, they've always been very straightforward and very honest about their opinions. They were the ones, Maddie, Hunter, Garrison, woo. Big G's was always on the prowl. He would quick fast say what was on his mind. Now, some people, like, I like that. I like that trait. If you have an issue with me, you have a problem with me. If you tell me what your issue and your problem is, we can talk about it. We can discuss it. If you have a point of view, like I'll open up the lines. If you disagree with anything I say, I don't have an issue with people disagreeing with me. I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. Hell, I put out videos. Sometimes I think during talked about Janelle's video. I put out a video. I said that Kody's dad's property was in Utah. Misspoke. The ranch is actually in Wyoming. Because remember, uh make a Y for Wyoming. He lived in Wyoming. I make mistakes. I know better, but I've just misspoke. Shit happens, right? So I don't mind people calling me out. If I mess up, I mess up. It is what it is. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Okay, I can handle it, right? So I don't mind them. But some people can't take it. If you're too honest with them, not in a mean way. I'm not saying you're just being nasty to them to be nasty, but if you're just telling them what your perspective is and what your feeling is, and it disagrees with what their perspective or their feeling is, then you're being mean to them. And maybe they're so tender-assed because of the way they were raised that they thought that Janelle's kids were being assholes to them. It's not that they were being assholes. It's just that they were being honest. And they were just giving their perspective. And if their perspective disagreed with maybe how they saw the world or how they were brought up, all of a sudden they're being mean and nasty and they're not letting them in and they're not inviting them in. In some cases, you have kids who feel like you have to come and get them and invite them into the party. So if you are hanging out and you guys are having a good time, they feel like you should go out of your way to invite them into whatever play date you have going. And not only do you invite them into the play date that you're currently having, but you're supposed to ask them, what do they want to play? Now, in most kid situations or socialization scenarios, this is why it's important for you, even if you're a home school person, as an example. If you're a homeschool person and you have one of the social dynamics of the kids is you have your kids, they're playing, they're having fun, they're doing their thing. And if you're playing with your kids, you play what they want to play. But when they play with their peers, they have to learn to compromise. They have to learn that I don't always get what I want. I don't always get the best toy. I don't always get to tell the other kids how to play with their toys. This is part of socialization. And if Robyn's kids grow up in a way where everything that they want to do, I want to play Barbies. No, we're playing G.I. Joe, but I want to play Barbie. Okay, if you want to play Barbie, you can take your ass over there and play Barbie because here we're playing G.I. Joe. See, they're not letting me play with the group. They're not being fair. They're kicking us out. They're being a bunch of brown bullies. Are they being bullies? Or are they just defending themselves? Are they just speaking up for themselves? Are they just being assertive? Are they saying, like, look, this is something I don't want to participate in? But if we give them the benefit of the doubt, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Robyn was bad for, sticking up for her kids and trying to defend them, because it does seem as though she does overprotect her kids. So when she didn't let the kids go hang out with the other brown kids, it might have been a thing where the the other mothers, they're not going to tell their kids, guys, look, Robyn is the most sweetest specialist person ever. And it's up to us to make her and her kids feel extremely welcome. So if you're playing a game, I fully expect you to stop doing what it is you're doing and do whatever it is they want to do. The other parents aren't going to do that. The other mothers aren't going to do that. So because the other mothers aren't going to bend to the will of her kids, she may feel as though she wanted to keep her kids separate. That might be an explanation for you, Lizzie B, why she never wanted her kids around. Selfish as hell, and does it help to bring the family together? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But just trying to make an excuse for her. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, this might be why she, what if she was the hero? What would have to happen? That's basically what I'm doing now. And I'll even give at the end of it, you know what? I'm going to give my perspective on how she could actually fix her image on the show. What? What? He's going to what? He's going to give it. What? How could she possibly fix her image on the show? There's a way she could do it. There's a way she could do it. Do I think it could happen? No. But there's a way that I think she could do it. She could pull it off. Uh I want to try to keep folks involved. I feel you, Kathy. Kathy said I don't mess up when I use French on Kody. Sometimes it gets me. Uh okay, so here's the thing. The first thing I noticed is that one, Robyn has an image where she tries to straddle the fence. She tries to straddle the fence in a few places. One, she's a good guy. If I believe that Robyn is like this wholesome, pure person who is just looking out for the best interest of their family, then I have to ascribe a certain level of naivete to Robyn's attitude, which she tries to push. This is something that she always pushes. In my mind, I feel as though that this is blah, blah, blah. In my head, I feel as though blah, 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 blah. Or she hits the I never knew. I had no idea. I what? That's good. You lady, you was sitting right there. We talking about you didn't know. What? I had no idea. What? So in order for that to work, she has to be the she has to be the weak and ignorant person to everyone else's situations. In order for her not to understand what was going on and why she is viewed the way she is, she would have to be so disconnected from any reasonable intellect, ways of the world, understanding to any part of behavioral psychology, anything. Like she would have to be completely like Dunsky. She would be done, like dumb. She would be dumb. Okay, dumb. I'm gonna say it. She would have to be stupid. Like this would be a stupidity thing. Like I'm completely ignorant. I'm completely stupid. I have no idea how people work. I've never really like she would have to be, you know, it's not even so much dumb as much as she would have to be emotionally disconnected. Like she would have to be the only way like if there's no intellectual challenge there, she would have to be like maybe if she was on a spectrum or something where she didn't really know how her feelings worked or she didn't process feelings the way everybody else's processes feelings. So therefore she can't understand how other people may feel things because she doesn't necessarily feel it. If that was the case, okay, fine. She might be, you know what I mean? She could be, wouldn't necessarily be a hero, but it would explain a lot. I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that Robyn is a dumb woman. I don't think that she is emotional, ignorant to people's emotions. I don't think that she is anywhere near the spectrum. I don't think that that's her issue. Okay. I just don't see it. What I do see is somebody who is saying that when I come into the family, any family, I don't care. And this is where you hit that loggerhead. This is where you hit this is where you run into the wall, where she runs into the wall. Because in order for me to believe that she was a hero, I have to believe that she actually does care about the women and their feelings of her coming into the family. Clearly, Christine had a problem with it. She voiced that problem on the show in the first season. She was voicing that problem. Now you're telling me, and just I'll pretend like I don't understand how people work. I would have to believe that Christine, the family was completely left in the dark. And the first time Christine said, I feel like she's replacing me. I feel like she's coming in and she's intruding in the family. I feel like I'm being forgotten. I feel like I'm losing my best friend with regard to Kody. I feel like our family will be destroyed. This is all things she said in the first season. Hell, some of it she said in the first episode. So you want me to think that she's voiced these opinions for the very first time while she was sitting on that couch talking to producers? That makes zero sense to me. It makes zero sense to me. It makes more sense that this is a position that she's taken the entire time, and she's tried to share with Kody and the family and how she felt about it, but she was being dismissed. Now, in Robyn's defense, maybe Kody never said anything to her. Maybe Christine only shared her concerns with the OG3 and Kody. She never came forward. The other OG2, I guess, would be, because she would be the third. But she never shared her position with anybody. With Robyn, she only kept it in house with the family. In which case, maybe Robyn didn't know. I doubt it, because I think Kody would have ran down there and told her, Christine's being such an ass, and started talking crap about her. But okay, but let's take it a step further. In that situation, I would also have to believe that Robyn didn't understand that coming into a family, any family, with women and a family that's already established, is going to be difficult for the other people. I mean, even in her situation, her mom was the second wife. Her mom was like, her stepfather had another wife, and then he was messing around with her mom, because technically he couldn't marry her mom because of bigamy laws. So they spiritually married or whatever. And they had this honeymoon type relationship, but he didn't go out and get additional women after her. So she didn't sit in the house and watch her mother be jealous. So maybe from that respect, we can give Robyn a little bit of grace. She had no idea how hard it was actually for a woman who was already in an established relationship having to come to terms with her jealousy of her husband walking out of the house to be with a new woman whom what didn't exist prior to her relationship starting. So maybe Robyn gets some grace there. Maybe. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this. Can't believe I'm doing this. Maybe she gets some grace there. She comes into the family. She never saw a situation where the people were upset. Her mom wasn't upset that her dad was out dating somebody else. She didn't have to deal with that, because her mom was the woman who the dad was dating. And she saw, like she describes it as, I saw the honeymoon relationship. I know it's possible that you can have a honeymoon type relationship for years after the wedding, and you can carry it on. Yeah. Because the dude, anytime you have a girlfriend as a married guy, look, I don't know polygamy, but I know how the world works. Okay, I know that if you a married dude, you go to your mistress house and you have a great time at your mistress house. Why? Because that's the place of no problems. I've said that before. The mistress house is always the place of no problems. If you go over to your mistress house and you met with a bill or a problem that you don't really want to deal with, you know what you do? You go to hell home. You go home. You go deal with your wife, somebody that you tied to, somebody that you're invested in financially, emotionally, and everything else, somebody that your life is built around. I deal with those problems. If I got problems at home, I deal with. When I come over here to the place of no problems, to the mistress house, then I'm coming here to have a good time. This is my fun time. This is my vacation time. This is the honeymoon that you're talking about. It's a vacation. I come over here to have fun. I come over here to kick back, get some sandwiches, do my thing, blow a few out, and then take my ass home. That's what it is, right? So that's what she saw. That's what she grew up with. And that's what she said in her description of, I keep a honeymoon atmosphere and environment for Kody. When he comes over, my 100% focus is on him. That's what she was talking about. what it plays against her, because for a lot of people who already think that you're involved in is basically when we say it's a sex thing, that's what we're talking about. It's not just the actual physical part of intimacy that we're referring to. What we're talking about is he comes over to your house, he doesn't have to really talk to you about issues or problems. He goes over to Janelle's house, Christine's house, or Mary's house because their relationship is different, and their relationship is built different because they suffered together, they struggled together, because they did those things together. Then, yeah, when they have a problem, they feel like, yeah, because when we were struggling before and we didn't have the money and we were struggling trying to figure out how we were going to pay for things, we would sit down and have a conversation about it. So now, update the situation. When they get the show, he goes over to Christine, Mary, Janelle's house. They're used to sitting and pulling him aside and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. You know, Logan's going to school. He's growing up. Or Hunter don't want to go to class, or whatever the case may be. Garrison there beating the shit out of Gabe. he fired it up, speaking his mind. Well, I ain't going back to school then. Garrison was the shit. But, you know what I mean? that was my dude. He gave me a lot of laughter. That dude gave me a lot of joy. But yo, you did all that stuff. Okay, cool. Right? And you go over to Robyn's house and she sits there and plays the damsel in distress. Even Janelle said it in season 3, episode 3. She said, yeah, I didn't understand Robyn and Kody's relationship. Playing the damsel in distress. I couldn't do that. Right, and Janelle Robinson there, but I have a honeymoon relationship. Yeah, it's a honeymoon relationship because he gets to come over and play the hero. You leave your bills on the table and they get paid because you're his girlfriend. But in her mind, she was the perfect wife because we're giving her the benefit of the doubt. In her mind, I think that she thought that she was being the perfect wife. You know, uh Teresa Skinner, good point. Good point, James. She also never had to watch her mom integrate herself into a home with another wife or family. This is very true. She never had to watch that shit. And just so we're very clear, when I say that you didn't have to watch that, even with I believe, not to speak for Miss Skinner, but I think that if we're on the same page, when you don't have to watch that, one of the things that I think made Aspen so committed to not having sister wives, Madison so committed to not having sister wives, is that they had to watch their mom go through the pain and the suffering of having people come into the family, having not only having their husband go out to be with another woman, because that's something that we can all understand. You know, the jealousy involved with your significant other going to lay down with another person. But there's another part of it. Her. And this is the part that I think has never really been addressed on this show, as well as any show that talks about opening your relationship, whether it's through a menage a trois, or whether it's polygamy, polygyny, swapping sister wives, seeking sister wives, swapping wives, whatever the case may be. You know, when you bring other people into your family, into your romantic situation, they are now involved in your romantic situation. They have a say. They have a say, a fundamental say in your life. So it's not things that you could just decide between you and your spouse. Now there's another opinion that's involved. In this particular case, especially with the Brown family, when it came to Kody and say Christine, it wasn't just Kody and Christine making decisions where they would live, where they would send their kids to school, what church they would attend, what bills they would pay, what bills they wouldn't pay if their money was shorter than a child standing in the ditch. Okay, when your money's short as hell, you try to make it go long, but that money is short. That's a discussion, right? Whether we're going to buy this car or whether we're going to put money down on an apartment or a house, where we're going to move, those are discussions that couples have. But when you have additional people in your family, now you have somebody else's say. You have somebody else who may come back and say, you know what? Instead of us putting money down on a house or paying this month's rent, why don't we go on vacation? And Kody, that's a great idea. And then that's what it is. And then you looking sad like Janelle, because I'm sure she's had those conversations. Guys, let's put some money aside so we could pay off some things. Maybe we can make some payments on this. Hey, instead of us going out buying all this new furniture, why don't we just take that money and put it on some of these bills, lower some of these credit cards, some of that credit card debt that we have. And then you have, Rob, well, that's what credit cards are for. If you can't utilize those funds. And then Janelle, she get outvoted, then you just got to sit there and look sad. Maddie is seeing that. Hunter is seeing that. Logan is seeing that. When they watching their mom go to work every day and they're denied the opportunity to be able to sit there with their mom on a daily basis after school because she's doing overtime. She can't come to their games because she's at work or she has a project to do at work or whatever the case may be. And they have one of the other moms going to their games, graduations, activities, events at school, whatever the case may be, helping them to get ready for their first date or maybe the first time they shave or whatever the situation is. And they have to have somebody else do it because their mom is at work because she has to help provide for the rest of the family, then that's something that they have to realize that, okay, this is something I don't want to be a part of. Robyn didn't necessarily have that because if her mom was anything like her as is perceived on the show, then she was getting everything she wanted and everything she needed. And she didn't have to struggle, fight, or compete with anybody else, compete with anyone else. So in her defense, Robyn didn't. Maybe she didn't grow up seeing that. There's also the well, I'll do the book in a minute. Like there's also the point where Robyn wants us to forget everything we watched on the show. Okay? None of this stuff actually happened. And it certainly didn't happen the way you think it happened. And if you watched it with your eyes, who you gonna believe? Me or your lying eyes? I say I'm a good person. And your lying eyes, the producers are making you think I'm a bad person. Here's my thing. And this is just James' general rule. Okay, just the James general rule. I tend not to believe people when they tell me that they're nice. Okay, just this, my personal thing. If you look at me and say, James, I'm a nice person, I tend not to believe you. I tend not to believe you. You know why? Because when you have to say that you're a nice person, you're probably not a nice person. You're probably not a nice person. Because if you were a nice person, I would be able to tell. So when she said, like her and Kody sits there and argue, I'm a nice person, I'm a good person. It gets kind of scary. Oh, it's a super chat. Brittany, not Brittany. Okay, Brittany. Thank you so much for 99 super chat. Robyn has had to live. Wait, hold on 1 second. Had live-in child care that the other wives paid for. Woo, that's the point. When you put it like that. Let's do that one more again. Brittany, not Brittany. Robyn had live-in child care that the other wives paid for while the older kids parented their siblings. That the other kids, the other wives paid for. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah. When you say it like that, it sounds terrible, Brittany. Hold on. Let me give you thank you so much. Appreciate you. But yeah, that's a good point. And again, like not only, and that goes to my point too, that not only were the other parents paying for it, but again, you had the kids. Like thinking about it in this dynamic. You have when she comes into the family, they were only in Lehigh for a little bit. Then they went to Vegas. But while they were in Lehigh, she had I think her sister or her niece watching kids. McKelty was watching kids, going over watching kids. And you had Janelle paying to provide for Robyn. and keep her in that apartment, that rental in Lehigh. Then they moved to Vegas. Again, Janelle is paying and making these sacrifices, and her kids are watching this. Christine, her kids are watching. Part of the reason why Aspen, I think, doesn't want to have a polygamous relationship is because she's watching as her mom is being neglected because her dad is spending time with the wife that he prefers. Right? So from their perspective, this is not a good deal. Now, from Robyn's kids' perspective, which is also something we can talk about in a little bit, from Robyn's kids' perspective, thank you, Brittany, not Brittany. From her kids' perspective, this does probably seem like a good deal. I mean, after all, they started out, they were living in a trailer. They moved to a rental house that the Brown family was probably paying for in Salt Lake. Then they moved to Lehigh for a rental house that the Brown family was paying for. Then they moved to Las Vegas. The Brown family's paying for that. By the time they get done, they moved to Arizona, and she's sitting in a $2 million house. When was the last time she worked, aside from the Sister Wife television show? The other wives aren't sitting in $2 million houses. So it's not even like we could say it's all even and fair because each one of them are now sitting in a $2 million house. Like the fairest thing they could have done was stay on that cul-de-sac in Nevada where each one of them basically had the same house. But they moved to Arizona. Not only does Robyn have a $2 million house, but she expects to have a lion's share of the property that none of them are even living on in Coyote Pass. She wants 4 acres of that property. She has 5-6 acres at the house she's living in. Plus, she wants 4 acres on Coyote Pass. She wants Kody to maintain his 4 acres, which would most likely revert back to her. So she would get 8 acres of Coyote Pass by the time it's all said and done. And Coyote Pass is only 15 acres. So she would have a majority of the Coyote Pass. Well, you know what we call that where I'm from? That's called winning. She is winning. Okay. She ain't slouching. She's doing all right. So in that respect, it does work out. Now, when we talk about like the way the show is being produced, and one of my pet peeves from this reality show, both Robyn and Kody have said it, Mary has said it at some point. Uh Even in 90 Day Fiance, you have a young lady, old dirty bird named Angela Deem, who consistently abuses her husband from Nigeria. She said it. Oh, you guys don't know me because you only know what you've seen on the show. And the editing makes me look bad. The editing is what makes me look bad. It's not the fact that I'm a bad person, I do bad things, and I'm caught on camera doing these bad things. It's the way they put it together. The thing is twofold. One, they can do a lot with the editing. They can leave out certain parts of conversations to make it look like you started those arguments. Um, they can put things together in a way that where it leads you to believe, or they create a narrative that maybe doesn't reflect well on you. The one thing they can do in editing, unless they're using AI technology, they can't make words come out of your mouth. They can't make you do things that you don't want to do. Like, for instance, when Kody stood up and was hooping and hollering at Janelle, talking about tell the camera what you said, and made F you, you know what I mean? And he said there, I'm not gonna listen to you no more. Or when they sat there and told when Mary was asking about Coyote Pass, and Kody went to say, like, wanted to talk about Coyote Pass as an example, and he wanted to talk about Coyote Pass and how the property was divided, and Robyn was sitting there saying, well, I should have my own property because everybody tried to stick me with Kody, so I should be able to get 4 acres and you should only get 2 because I should have my own. That's not editing. That's you saying it. That's you saying, you said it out your mouth. The other thing about the whole editing problem that I have is that they say, well, the reason why you look at me like I'm a bad person is because of the way they edit the show. You only see a small fraction of my life, and you assume that that's who I am. You assume I'm a bad person, but you only are familiar with a small segment of my life. That argument goes both ways. And this is me giving you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, they edit you crazy. They make you look bad. They make you look horrible. I really don't know you, because if I feel bad about you, I feel a certain kind of way about you. I don't know you because of the way they edit the show. Here's the thing, though. Any positive that you would get from the show, you don't get that benefit either. You don't get to tell me that, oh, the way they edit the show, they can edit the show to make it me look bad. I could argue also the way they edit the show, they make polygamy seem like it's something reasonable to do. They make it seem like this shit is normal. They make it seem like if you get involved with another person, that your sister wife and your family could be wonderful, because you'll always have somebody to watch your kids, and nobody is going to be jealous. Nobody's going to be upset. You're going to have additional adults who are going to help you, not only help you raise your kids, help you provide for your kids, help you meet your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. You're going to have all this when you join a polygamous family. Those things would also cease to exist if I stop giving you credit based on what I see on TV, because, like you said, we don't see the whole story. We don't see the whole story. So you can't have it both ways. I shouldn't give you the benefit of the doubt that you're a good person, because, like you said, I don't know you. I don't know you. I only know what I see on the show. And on the show, you have people who will look at the show, and some people, Mary, divisive character on the show. Some people look at Mary and say, I like Mary. I like the cut of that jib. Other people look at Mary and like, oh, she's so nasty. She's so mean. And Mary will come out and say, well, you guys don't know me because of the show. Right. I don't know you because of the show. What I am familiar with is that you apparently stayed in a relationship where the husband didn't want to be with you, because that's what he has said out of his mouth. You said that we don't know you from the show. I'm just telling you what the person who is involved in your relationship, the other person involved in your relationship, is saying. They're saying that, yeah, you don't understand, because there's a lot of stuff that they didn't show on the show that shows that she's a horrible person, and this is why I'm not with her anymore. And I was completely justified in treating her the way I did and breaking up with her the way I did. That's what Kody said. So if I believe that, we can't make any assessments on the show, then I got to listen to the person who was there. So this is why I don't think that the argument that they're making, as far as we don't know what's going on and the decisions we make and the judgments we make based on the show and the things that we see, isn't as strong as they think it is. Let's see. And I got you too, Mama Squirrel. Thank you so much, Mama Squirrel. Mama Squirrel's like, James 100% right. I appreciate that. Oh, as always, Mama Squirrel's my homie. Teresa Skinner in the house. I never cared for her back handed sarcasm toward the OG3 wives. Yeah, she did that shit too. She consistently did that to them. After Julie was born, she made a comment about older moms having difficult births. Yep. Older moms. Yeah, I remember that. Teresa's right. Because it was when older women have birth, like what? The crazy part is, yeah, there is an age gap, the age difference between wives and Robyn, but it's not that significant. Like it's not like Robyn was 20 marrying into the family. Okay. It's not like she was 20 marrying into the family and the OG3 wives were 40 and 50 years old, and she's marrying into the family and she was this babe, this young. Can I tell you guys pet peeve? Can I tell you guys, can we share? Can we share? Can we talk? Can we talk? One of the things that kind of annoys me is that every now and again I'll watch a podcast or something, And you'll have somebody on the show, and this is maybe a few years ago, right? Let's say about 5, 10 years ago. You'll be watching the show and they'll make a comment about like, oh, you because you're old, because you're a Gen Xer or whatever, you're old and you don't understand how technology works and blah blah blah. And they're a millennial, right? And now that you have, Gen Z and all that stuff, they're like 3, 4 deep in as far as the generation is concerned. And they're the old heads now, around about the same age as they were when they first hit the scene and was calling everybody else old. Now they're about that same commiserate age, right? And so say they started the show when they were 25, 30, and they were talking to 40-year-olds. Now they're 40. And they're still trying to play the young, hip, oh, you guys are old and I'm so young. Like, no, you old now too. Welcome to the club. How does it feel? How does it feel? I was talking to somebody who not too long ago, they were complaining about movies or whatever, and they just hit 30 years old. And oh yeah, movies are terrible. And I said, the funny thing? Welcome to the club, because you're at the age now where movie studios don't give a shit what you think. Because they only care about 25, like between the ages of like 15 and 25, something like that. Anybody else, they don't really care what you think. The music industry don't care what you oh, that music is stupid. They don't care. The music's not for you. They're not making it for you. So that's kind of where I was with Robyn, with the whole you know, these women are too old to have kids, and she does like these jokes about age. Like you're right there with them. Okay, you're right there with them, especially in a in a uh, in a misogynist uh community that you're from, right? I was about to call them the other c word, cult word, but from the misogynist community that you're from, they when you hit 30, anybody over 30, 35, you're an old lady as far as they're concerned anyway. You're over the hill. So you got to be careful with, when you're living in a glass house, you got to be careful throwing stones. I'll just say it that way. Uh YouTube is my time machine in the house. What's up, Vixen? How you doing? Uh YouTube is my time machine. They all still age better than Robyn. Jesus. This is supposed to be what if Robyn was a hero time machine. You didn't understand the assignment. What if she was a hero? Okay. And this is one of the things that this is what I was talking about with the whole, like, you don't know me because of the way I appear on the show, and you don't understand what's happening. This is what I mean. When they sit there and make these positions and take these positions that we don't understand it, we don't know what's going on because we watch the show. We spend a lot of time watching the show, and there's more things that happen outside the show. There's an example that I would also like to cite with regard to that. People will say, well, you can't define who I am by this one acting. This doesn't tell you who I am. And in some regards, I agree with that perspective. I think that you are bigger than maybe the one thing that you did or one thing that you didn't do. However, if you are, say, the guy who will go down to the corner store and you steal all the candy and you walk in, they had the candy on the shelves by the registers. You walk in there every week and you try to snatch 4, 5 boxes of candy and run out the door, right? You try to shoplift candy. You can't, well, they might even give you the nickname, the Candy Man. They might call you the Candy Man. Every time this dude show up, you try to steal a bunch of candy. You can't then say, well, I am bigger than the crimes I committed. That doesn't tell you who I am. No, it doesn't tell me exactly who you are, the depth and breadth of your character and your personality, how you grew up, what you think about, what you talk about. What it does tell me is that you steal candy. Okay. And I use that logic in respect to this show and saying that I watch Kody or Robyn do crazy things to the family and the kids in certain situations, and you are bigger than the situations that you find yourself in. However, if you do something and I look at you and I say, you know what, that person's an asshole, I don't have to know everything about your upbringing to call you that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to know what your childhood pet was named. You're a jerk. You know what I mean? I don't need to go deep down into the bowels of who you are as a person to know that there are certain things that you're doing that I might not like. Here's the other part of it. Robyn in the polygamous propaganda program. Okay. I call it the polygamous propaganda program because that, my friend, is what it is. It's a propaganda program that's set forth to make people think that polygamy is the way to go. let's get it. Let's get it up for for the French John. Thank you so much, Len. I appreciate you. Let you know what I'm working with. I'm trying to hold back. I'm trying to cut out. I'm trying to cut it out. But let me give you some. Thank you so much, Len. I appreciate you. But you understand what I'm saying. Like when it comes down to it, this was the polygamy propaganda program. Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate you. Um, this is the polygamy propaganda program. The whole program was designed to make the normal person feel like polygamists were, in fact, in normal situations, they're normal type relationships, alternative relationships that is acceptable for this type of activity to participate in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right, wrong, indifferent, however you take it. But you made a choice to be a part of this. You made a choice to be a part of this. And so if you don't like how people are perceiving you or polygamy is being perceived, or you think that you're given a bad shake, and I'm giving Robyn the benefit of the doubt, maybe you didn't understand it, so you just needed somebody to tell you this. But if you are trying to be the spokesperson for polygamy and the people you're working with are making you and polygamy look bad, because it does make polygamy look bad. If I look at you and I see that polygamy is damaging to the people who are participating in it because of the way it's presented, and therefore you look like an asshole because you're participating in damaging another person because you're in this damaging relationship as is being presented on the show, and your entire purpose of being on the show was not to make money but to be the spokesperson for polygamy, then my question is, if you are a good person, why are you still doing the show? Why are you still doing the show? Now, I understand that the show is paying for your lifestyle. I get it. I mean, it's a come up, you know. It the show has done a lot for the Brown family, and I understand that. But at the same time, if you're saying the sole reason why you got involved with this, you didn't really want to do it. I never wanted to do it. I just wanted to be part of the Brown family and love Kody and love the wives and love the kids. That's all I ever wanted. Then if anything was to damage those things that you loved, then my question is, why would you participate in it? If somebody came to me tomorrow and said, James, I like the cut of your jib. I've seen you on YouTube, seen you in other projects you were involved with. I think you would make a great person to put on this reality show. I like to film you and your family. And I said, I looked at the deal and I looked at the scenario and I said, you know what? This would be awesome. And it'll be a great way for me to maybe something that I want to talk about or issues I want to bring up or whatever the case may be. And it'd be a great opportunity for me able to do that. Plus, I have the added bonus of adding money or finances to my financial security to my family. Plus, I have the additional bonus of maybe not only providing opportunities for myself, but providing opportunities to my loved ones who I will bring on the show. Then, yeah, it's a net positive. I will do it. But the second I thought or was given any indication that this program, this opportunity is damaging my relationship with my children, my spouse, my family, my father, my brother, like is that my cousins or people I'm close to. It started damaging those relationships, my friends, and it started damaging my relationship with those people. Then it stops being a good enough reason for me to be on the show because for me, the entire reason why I would want to be on the show is to benefit my family. And if your entire reason to be on the show is to benefit your family because you want to bring your situation out to the forefront so they no longer have to be ashamed and deny the fact that they're one big happy family, but by you participating in the show, it costs you your one big happy family, what is the point? And maybe she just didn't understand that. Maybe she doesn't understand that. Maybe she didn't say, she can't say to Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, hey guys, Mary, we need to stop doing this show because it is destroying our family. Because they're putting us in a light where we look bad every week. It makes it look as though we don't get along. And the problems that we do have, they exacerbate because it adds drama to the show. Because let's be honest, most people wouldn't watch a show where nothing happens. Okay. Even on Seinfeld, which is a classic show that was supposed to be about nothing, every week, every episode is about something. It's about nothing linearly. Like there's no consistent theme. Like every week they have to chase down this MacGuffin or this thing, this fictional objective that they have to reach. They're not chasing that every week. But something happens which causes them, they find themselves in a scenario or a situation, hence sitcom, situational comedy. They find themselves in a situation that they have to try to work themselves out of using their characters or characteristics. In this particular instance, nobody is watching a show where you just see Jerry Seinfeld brush his teeth, then sit at the table, read a book, then sit down and write some jokes, and then maybe go on a date this uneventful, come home and go to sleep. Nobody's watching that show. So it has to have some drama to it. But you recognize that drama is starting to cost you your family, your security, your safety at home. You decide I'm going to stop doing the show. That makes sense to me. But the show was important. uh Yeah, he absolutely. Danny said Kody needs this cash cow, the show, to keep going because otherwise he would lose the only job he's kept for all these years. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, many of us have made the assertion or the observation that the whole reason why Robyn got involved with the Brown families to begin with was because of this show. And since this is in fact the book club, we can refer back to the book. Let's refer back to the book. When Robyn talks about it, she makes the assertion that she had no idea that they were doing the show. Like this is what she said in this week's chapter that we were going to cover this week. That we'll cover next week with Jenny. But she said that she had no idea that they were doing the show. She was so in love with the family. She wanted to join the family. She had no idea about the show. When Kody told her about the show, she didn't think it was a reality. Didn't think it was going to happen. But in the book, she describes how she was. I was going to read the book, but the hell with it. We all know. She talks about how her cousin had said to her when she went back to Salt Lake City. The cousin said to her, called her up when the Brown family, Kody came over to ask about her. She called her cousin called Robyn in her words, not the words of the producers, not somebody taking and changing what she said, but in her words, she said that the cousin called her up and said, "Hey, the Brown family has things going on. What are those things that the Brown family had going on? The only thing the Brown family had cooking or popping off was the fact that they were going to be on this TV show. The cousin understood that they were in talks to be on this TV show, and this is something that they were pursuing. The cousin understood that and told Robyn she needs to hitch her wagon to the Brown family because they shit is about to take off. This is your big chance." But then she goes back and tells us that she had no idea that they were going to be doing the show. But, Robyn is honorable. And so are they all honorable people. Like friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I've come to bury Robyn, not to praise her. Nah, I'm just joking. I came to try to be fair. We're trying to be fair. Brittany, not Brittany, with the 499 super chat. I still wouldn't like Robyn, but I could at least give her kudos if she stood 10 toes down on her motives. Just be real. That is that's all. That's it. That's all. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I totally butchered your statement. So I will read it again. Brittany, not Brittany, 499 super chat. Take two. All right. I would I still wouldn't like Robyn, but I could at least give her kudos if she stood 10 toes down on her motives. Just be real. That's it. That's all. I 100% agree. And I think that's one of the things that I would even suggest later on when I give advice, when I talk about like some of the things that she could do to perhaps change her image or at least make herself more acceptable on the show. All right. But let me give Brittany, not Brittany, some. Thank you so much, Brittany. I appreciate you. But I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Uh, and that's the whole point. So you have that. Then you have the issue of Robyn coming into the family. And I think that this is a big one. And then I'm going to open it up. Let me just drop the I'm going to drop the link. And you guys don't have to. I would just ask that you, when you first come on into the you hit the link, you'll come on, it'll ask you to hook up your mic and your camera. Just have your camera up so I can see it in the backstage area. And then when you come on, you just turn the camera off and you just keep your mic up, and that way you don't have to appear, face off on the live or whatever. All right. Just want to make sure that you're actually a person. Uh I should have guest dancers like the morning show with Kelly and her husband. You're right. Maybe I'll shoot some B-roll. Show you some moves. Oh man. She says in a book and saw on the show that she was in therapy with the family and she started like she didn't know what was going on. Yeah, there's problems. There's problems in these relationships. I thought it was heaven. It's crazy. Um, yeah, it's crazy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is where I was saying that maybe we could give her, what if she was actually been mistook this whole time? And the way that I think we could get to that point is twofold. The first part of me trying to say that we could give her the grace or benefit of the doubt and how she could perhaps get herself out of the PR hell that she's in is if one big thing, at least in my mind, one big thing would have to happen. Kody would have to take responsibility. It has to be on somebody. Why things worked out the way they did, why the family disintegrated the way it did. It's on some people are going to have to be culpable in the disintegration of the family. And if Robyn really, really wants to absolve herself of some of this situation, it will require, at least in my mind, it will require Kody to come out and say, this is what's going on. Everything that's happened is my fault. I'm going to pause right there. Woo! Cody's going to have to come out and take blame for everything. That's the only way it's going to work. Robyn, if you ever watch this, that's the only way it's going to work. Kody, if you really love your wife, if you love your wife, you got to take responsibility. Because the first part is that, and I've said this before, it's not even like I'm presenting a completely new or foreign idea. I've said this before. I think that Kody is responsible for most of it because Kody is the gatekeeper. Kody is the one. It doesn't matter whether Robyn wanted to use the family for their money, whether Robyn wanted to, get like the $2 million house, end up with the $2 million house, 4 acres on Kody Pass, it's just in her name. None of that matters if Kody doesn't go along with it. Kody has to agree to all of it. Robyn didn't have a job. She didn't have any. There was no way she could enforce anything that she wanted. Okay, fine. She had a nanny. We talked about that earlier. She had a nanny. Kody had to approve the nanny money. Kody had to approve the rent money. Kody had to approve the mortgages. Kody had to approve, he had to sign the mortgage statements when they put in bids for homes, whether it was in Vegas or whether it was in Arizona, when they bought the Kody Pass and he wanted to put Robyn's name on 4 acres of the lot and he stood there and defended that was Kody. And even if she was sitting there talking to Kody, and Cody's ear behind the OG3 wives back trying to be her most maniacal, evil shit that she could come up with, the only way it works is if Kody goes along with it. And the only reason why Kody went along with it, if we're going to be completely honest, is because Robyn was the wife that Kody preferred. Now, is that Robyn's fault that she is the wife that he preferred? No. It's not her fault that, she was the favorite wife. She did some things to make sure she would be the favorite wife. She participated in it. But can she take 100% responsibility because Kody preferred her? No, absolutely not. She can't take that responsibility. That shit is on Cody's shoulders. That's on Cody's back. That's 100% on him. She, even if, and let's put it this way, because I want to be very clear on this. Even if Robyn hounded, pestered, badgered, just on his ass every day. You need to be up in my house. You need to come and put my kids to bed. You need to walk my kids to school. You need to do their homework with them. You need to blah, blah, blah. You need to da. Right. And she did that from the time he walked in the room, in the house, to the time he went to bed. She was on his ass every day. Kody has to decide to do that. How many women are out there? Oh, got some people. All right, I see you, Brittany. Okay, I'll bring you up in a moment, okay? Kody has to go along with it. Kody has to agree with it. Kody has to say, you know what? I'm going to come over to the house because you know who else did it? Christine did it. Christine asked him to come over to her house. Christine asked if he would spend more time with her kids. Christine asked if he would come by and knock the bottoms out more often. Be intimate or whatever more often. And he said no. So we know he has the capability of saying no. We see it oftentimes even in mainstream America or in mainstream court systems. There's a lot of court systems where custodial parents will ask non-custodial parents to do things, and non-custodial parents say eat a dick and they go off and do what they're going to do. And there's nothing that the custodial parent can do. I need you to give more money. I need more money for child support. I ain't giving you shit. I need you to come by more and pick the kids up. How come you ain't come and see the kids this weekend? Oh, because I was busy. I was hanging out with my friends. The game was this week. We had finals. We had the Super Bowl or the World Championships, the World Cup or whatever was this weekend. So no, I couldn't come by and pick Junior up. We see it all the time. You do things that you want to do. So she couldn't force Kody to do things that Kody didn't want to do. Let me put my set this up real quick because we have a guest. We have a guest in the house, and I'm gonna bring her up shortly. Just get my I have to disconnect some stuff. Disconnected. All right. Let me just so I can actually hear you. 1 second. I apologize. Oh, I thought I was ready. But yeah, we have our first guest in the house, y'all. So excited. Turn that off there. And then I'll connect that. Okay. Hello. Hey,
Hello.
what's going on, Brittany? How you doing?
I'm good. How's everyone? How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Welcome to the
Great.
show. So excited.
I made it.
Yeah,
Yay.
right. So, what did you have to say? What was your thoughts?
One thought that I had as far as Robin, you know, beating the allegations is not only is she going to have Kody take responsibility for everything, it's going to have to be through like an atomized list. Like you can't just go, oh, it's all my fault. Like, no, no, no.
Right.
We got to hear about the wedding dress. We got to hear about Isabel's surgery. We got to hear about, you know, item line, detail, because it's 18 seasons of her crying about what a victim she is while we
Right.
watch her do things that are dishonest, that are just not in line with what she says she wants. I don't understand how you could say that you want to be friends with these women
Hmm.
and you never invite them to your house for dinner. You never catch up with them. The only time we ever see Robin or them with Robin is outside of her home, quite literally, sitting outside her home. We never see the inside of her house, but that's something completely different. But, we never see her actually pursue relationships with these women. It's just her crying about the fact that they're not friends with her. They don't like me, but
Right.
she never puts in the effort on her end. And we're just supposed to believe that that's how, not even we're supposed to believe, you want us to, as all grown adults, go, this is how relationships work, where
Right.
this side has to come to you for everything. And you just have to sit there and wait for everybody to be friends without putting in the effort. It's just not real life. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
No, that's an excellent point. You know what? And I also like the point that you brought out, that the fact that what we don't see on the show, and again, maybe it is edited, maybe it
Could be.
is the TLC creating spice and
Right.
drama. But if you are right, we also, and I take exception to that just from this respect, that when Mary, the person that she was supposed to be the closest to,
Yes.
when she would come over and sit and talk with her, one of the things that Mary said is, you're going to have to reach out to me. We
Hmm.
have to get in touch more. Because every time she would go over and they would have their little powwow, she would always come off like this is something, that's strange. And it seemed like friends who were catching up more than people who met every week or,
Right.
3, 4 times a week. Like if you have a girlfriend or if you have a bud that you hang out with, like dudes, you got your bros that you hang out with and the buddies that you hang out with, you don't sit there and be like, so what's going on, man? How's everything going? Like this is your buddy. I saw you 2 days ago. You
You
know what I mean?
do, you do, but they're supposed to be family. Like my best
Right.
friend, we talk to each other, maybe like once or twice a week because we have lives, we have families, we
Right.
have stuff going on. But it's always like nothing ever happened. Like we never stopped. It always
Mhm.
feels like with Mary, specifically Mary and Robin, like, all right, hey, what's going on?
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
that's where it's unnatural. But she wants us to believe that she loves Mary and Mary's the best thing and she's gonna be involved with her kid's life. And then Mary's like, I ain't seen you, I ain't seen them kids, nothing.
Right,
I
right.
just don't get
And
it.
what makes it even more hurtful is the fact that I always get the impression that Mary wants more. That Mary,
Yeah.
when she was talking about the kids, that she actually wants to have more of a closer relationship with the kids. She wants to see the
Mhm.
kids more. And like you said, when you have that friend or that family member that you don't see after a while, you could not see them, like, because I have friends that, like you said, you have lives and your lives go in different ways. But if we catch up and we're sitting in the same room or we're talking, even family members, we're sitting in the same room. The first maybe 5 minutes will be us trying to catch up with what's going on. But
Yes.
after like that initial thing, you
Mm-hmm.
right back to where you were. It's like
Exactly.
slipping into a warm bath. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're right back in that comfortable place. And I don't ever feel like the two of them are ever comfortable. What I do see just from watching them and their body language with each other
Mm-hmm.
is that they're always kind of guessing whether, what is this person going to say? And they put up walls where they're trying to protect themselves, where I don't want to reveal too much and I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
say too much or give too much away because I don't know how much of this is either going to get back to Kody, one of the other wives, or is going to be used against me later.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that relationship is as close, but I think that's an excellent point. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's an excellent point. But yeah, because one of the things that actually bothers me about the whole situation, because like you said, because there is so much under the bridge with this, with 18 seasons, it won't be enough for you to come up and like, you guys just got it all wrong. And then
Right.
everybody forget. So you are going to have to come out and be like, yeah, with the dress, yeah, I was kind of screwy. And to some point, one of the other things that I was going to talk about is I think that Robyn is actually going to have to take responsibility for the things that she was a part of. So the
Yes.
dress fiasco, I was involved with that. I'm sorry. It didn't work out like I planned. Throwing Kody under the bus. He
Right.
bullied me into doing the dress decision with him. And we had already picked the dress. I think they had already had the dress before they even went out.
Same.
She went out with the girls.
Yes.
You know,
And
but
I would let everything pass personally. Personally, I'm not going to
mm,
speak for nobody else. I would let just about everything pass. She, for me, she would have to explain why she didn't tell Kody to just go for a few days for Isabel's surgery. And she would have to
mm,
explain because she's the one who loves celebrating stuff. It seems like only for her kids, but how if Gabe's birthday is literally like right after hers. We know this.
mhm.
She knows this. She's been in the family for like 12 years. It's like at least 12 birthdays that she's had with the family where she knows a few days after her own birthday comes Gabe.
Right.
How she let Kody not say happy birthday to him, I don't care that you have a lot of kids. We all have computers on our phones in our hands. Put his birthday in. And he should have
Right.
been at Isabel's surgery. Those are my two things.
Right.
Everything else I'll let go. And I'll just pretend like, we got it all wrong. Those two, no ma'am. No ma'am.
Right. We all mistaken. But
Right.
I but even with because I'll take it in order with the birthday, because I think those are also excellent points. With the birthday, if you look at the birthday scenario, in my mind,
In my mind.
that's what she always says. In my mind, if Robyn wanted to have that close sister wife relationship, and more importantly, if you did have that close sister wife, these are your sisters, these are your best friends, and your best friend's child, a child that you actually supposedly consider to be your child, is about to undergo this surgery. If you yourself can't go to this surgery, you would damn sure make sure her father was there if it was in
Exactly.
your power. If you're not going to this surgery, you need to figure out a place that you're going to be, because you're not going to be under this roof. You're not,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? And that's what I would expect. That's where I would be. Like if this was like a sister wife situation or a brother
Right.
husband, and I had another brother husband, you know what I mean? You ain't coming here.
Right.
So you might as well go to New York. Because you ain't
Exactly.
gonna be staying here. You be sleeping in your car, player.
Right. Like here, who is here? Not
Right, right,
here. Can't be
right.
here.
Oh, you don't stay here no more. You
Mm-mm.
know what I mean? You go out to that garage, you should be packed up out here too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But even with and what was the second point you made with
Gabe's birthday.
the birthday?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and with the birthday, you guys all know about the birthdays because apparently it's not like you're new to the family. And I might look at it and be like, well, 18 kids, that's a lot of birthdays to remember. But I remember my kids' birthdays.
I know.
You know what I mean? I don't have 18 of them, but I remember their
Right.
birthdays, and it's something that you don't forget. So I agree with you. I agree with you. That's something that they would have to put out.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. That's all that I had.
Okay, but I appreciate you for calling. Thank you for being the first. Let's give you a. I'm gonna give you something real quick for being the person. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you want to come back, you got it. All right.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, Brittany, not Brittany in the house. Thank you so much. Got Lizzie B up. What's up, Lizzie? How you doing?
Hi guys, Lizzie B here. We're
Oh,
not pressed for the BS. Listen, James, you are giving Robin too much credit.
I'm trying. I'm trying to be on her side because I feel like I'll be beating her down so much. I gotta try to give a little something. You know what I mean?
Hi guys. Listen, I have my own personal opinion about Robin. I believe Robin is a covert narcissist.
Mm,
And a narcissist will always want to be in control. And since the moment she met Kody, she has always wanted to be in control, but with the illusion of, oh, I'm just entering the family with my three kids, and she's very manipulative that way.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And here's the weird part about it. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Like I think that there's a part of it that's so ridiculous that borderlines on the so ridiculous terms. If we were to assume that she's a normal person with a normal hold on reality, like she didn't have any issues, she didn't suffer from any type of narcissistic disorders or anything of that nature, then I would it would be so like the stuff she does and her interpretation of things that are happening would be so off kilter and so weird it would almost be crazy. And I think that what makes it a little more uh tangible or a little easier to digest is the fact that if you put her in a category more of she has a narcissistic disorder where everything is about her, she has to maintain control, she can't ever be in the bad light of things, she always has to be right in most situations, everything that has to happens around her, because of her, or has to deal with her. I think you're
Yes,
100% right.
because if she didn't want to, if she really wanted to be part of the family, she just would have been part of the family. The first
Hmm.
thing that she said is, "Oh, let's just adopt my kids because I don't want. I would really want them to be part of the family and bear the Brown family name." Of course, the kids would have been part of the family with the name or without the name. They didn't have
Right.
to be adopted, and that's another whole issue. I believe that their biological father was practically robbed of of his kids. But anyway, if she
No.
really wanted to be part of the family, she would have contributed in helping out and being more of a sister wife. Hey, Christine, do you need something? I can go over to your house, and maybe you can come over to my house and have lunch, and we can go and just have more interactive time with the kids. But that's not what she wanted. She made everyone appear that's what she wanted at the beginning. But if you're not being through and through from the first day to the end, you're not being
Hmm.
authentic. And that's what Robin has shown us. She is not authentic because the playtime, the travel, they would have kept coming. You know, let's
Right.
just
Right.
do this every Saturday, every Sunday, every month. And she wasn't consistent with her routine, with her family activities. She was, but with her own kids and with Kody, but not with
Hmm.
all of us. Me personally, this is my personal opinion. I believe Robin thought of the OG3 as the ex-wives of Kody and the OG13 as just Cody's kids, but not hers. As and that's the difference. Christine and Mary and Janelle consider all of the OG13 kids, even Robin's, part of their family.
Hmm. No, I think that's an excellent point because if you look at the situation as it was laid out with the dynamics of the family, with her joining the family, the biggest issue I've always kind of taken was when she joined the Brown family, she didn't join the Brown family as much as she expected the Brown family to join her.
Exactly.
And I think that that's a significant difference. Like anytime that you're like if we're going to be 100% honest about monogamous relationships versus polygamous relationships, polygyny, opening your relationship up to swapping or just open hall pass or whatever you want, however you want to term it. When you do that, your relationship is fundamentally going to change anyway. But there's a difference between your relationship changing to accommodate somebody else coming into the relationship versus you changing your relationship to suit somebody else and make that person feel comfortable. So, from that respect, for many reasons, Robyn tried to make herself the center of the Brown family.
Mhm.
That created a problem. And like you said, it's the relationships that she had with uh the OG3 as well as the OG13. I had more of the feeling that she wasn't looking for sister wives as much as she was looking for friends. And she wasn't looking for close friends. She was looking for people who would be entertainment for her when she was prepared to be entertained.
You see, here you go again. You're giving her too much credit. She didn't want that, James. She wanted um not victims. She wanted the OG3 to see her as the one, the one that was in control. If she didn't want that, she wouldn't have never told Kody, let's get married legally.
Well, I'll say this. The reason I say that is because if you have friends, I think we're kind of saying the same thing. Because if you have friends who are more or less associates, when they're like
Bank accounts,
a winner,
bank
yeah,
accounts,
yeah,
bank
they're,
accounts.
they're more like winter coats. When it gets cold outside, you go in the closet, you pull your winter coat out. When it gets too hot or it gets too warm or it becomes uncomfortable, you take your coat off, you put it back in the closet, you put it away. And I think that that's the type of relationship that she wanted to have with OG3 as well as OG13. When she wanted to have the big family event for her kids and she was having a party, she had brothers and 13, 14 brothers and sisters that could come over to the house and celebrate with her kids. But when it was like the day-to-day requirement of her maintaining those relationships, she wasn't interested in that. When it
Because
came
she
time
always
for her,
has a hidden agenda. You
right.
can't you can't be friends with someone who has a hidden agenda.
No. Well, you can't be real friends with people who have a hidden agenda.
And here comes the authenticity. Yeah.
Yeah, you could be fake friends. You could use people for sure. And
Yeah.
you could call them a friend. You know what I mean? Everybody had that person. Oh, yeah, that's my buddy. Like, I ain't your friend.
Yeah. And you
I
only
just have
seen him
the car.
once.
You're right. I just have the car. And I
Yeah.
can give you the ride to the party. But the second you get another ride to the party, you find a friend with a cooler car, then you're going with that friend. And I'm no longer invited to the party. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the place where she's operating from. And it's not necessarily that, and if anything, maybe I'll give her grace if I try to spin it, and this is me spinning hard. So bear with me. If I give her grace in the sense that it's not her fault particularly, it would be in line with, or if I try to defend her, I'll say it that way. If I try to defend her, it'll be in line of it's not her fault. She's just sick. It's a sickness. It's a behavioral disorder that she has, and she has to work through it.
The question is, does she wants to get better?
No, because she's winning. She's sitting in a $2 million house.
Because let's not look for excuses. Let's not look for excuses. Let's look for solutions.
There is no solution. There is no solution. In
Yeah.
this situation, there's absolutely no solution. Because she's like, there's no reason as to why she would change. Why would she ever change? You know what I mean? Because she's
Because
sitting
you
in a
don't
$2
want
million.
change because it's working for you. You're not thinking about your friend.
Right. Well, she's never going to think about her friend because her friend isn't her friend. I think we've like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as long as the only reason why, like, part of the reason why I think there was such sadness and such, she was so upset about, what's his name, Kody or Christine and them leaving, is because when they left, then they took their paychecks with them.
Bank
They took-
accounts, bank accounts, bank accounts.
Right. All of a sudden she didn't have, like, you figure if they had they were getting five separate checks from TLC
Yeah.
deposited in one account, then three of those five checks have decided to leave and go do whatever they want to do with those checks. That's a huge pay cut.
Yeah.
Like they took a 60, like somewhere around like a 60% pay cut.
Yeah.
That's big. Like if you work at any job and your boss coming there like, yeah, I'm gonna cut your paycheck by 60%. Well, this is my last day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When does
But you
that
know,
start? Oh,
but you
start
know what
next
they
week.
say?
Well,
When money comes in the door, flies out of the window. So that's what
right.
happens when the whole drama was happening. She's like,
Yeah,
oh, Cody was like, oh, Christine is leaving. Well, you haven't been in her house for months and months. Why are you upset now?
right. Well, because in his mind, and here's the weird part about it, and this is where I say like Cody bears a lot of this responsibility because Cody could have kept Christine around. He could have kept Mary around.
True.
He could have kept Janelle around. If he would have been paying attention, if Cody was doing his due diligence, and like regardless of what Robyn says, because Robyn can only make him do so much. She can ask him to do stuff, but she can't
Allegedly.
make him do anything.
Allegedly.
What do you mean?
Allegedly.
Oh yeah, allegedly she can't make him do anything, right? He would have to decide to do whatever it is he did allegedly, right? So it's on him. Like the family falling apart is Cody's fault. It's
Yeah.
Cody's fault because Cody could have, if he would have said, "Look, Robyn, I got to go over and spend the evening with Christine to keep this money going. I want you to stay." He get up and walk out the door. What is she gonna do? Chase him? You know what I mean? Like there's only so much she can do to keep him in the house. I have to spend time with Janelle to keep her involved. I have to spend time with Mary to keep her involved. And Mary was actually the lowest bar of all of them. Like if he'd have went over to Mary's house once a month and spent the evening with her at her house, not even doing anything crazy, just spend the night at her house, she would still be tied into the family today.
Don't even get me started on Mary. Mary should have left 15 years ago.
Yeah. If not sooner. Like I think it might maybe even longer than that. Like because they were having trouble. Because according to the book, they were having trouble with the relationship prior to the Robyn coming into the family, which is why Cody signed her up, or why Mary went after Robyn. Because they were already having problems. I don't know why you would get somebody else when you're having problems with your husband. You bring another wife in. I don't know why you would do that, but she thought she was getting his favor by doing it.
I think they were so used to things being that way that when Robyn came, they were like, it's not going to change. But it did change.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed for the worse because sometimes you expect things for the better. And when a bad thing comes, I'm not saying Robyn is a bad thing, but when bad change comes, you're not going to get used to it because things have been working a certain way that when that change comes, you're not going to be ready for it. And they weren't ready for Robyn, what she represented.
Right. Well, I don't think they would have been ready I don't think they ever would have been ready per se for Robyn because she was coming in with an agenda. She was coming in with things that she was trying to accomplish and things that she wanted out of a relationship. And the things that she wanted out of the relationship weren't really going to help anybody else's relationship. They were things that were specific to her and things that would have helped her in her situation, but they wouldn't have done anything for anybody else. So I think right there, like just because foundationally they had a problem from where they started.
But that's the key word, foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I see this whole polygamy thing, and excuse my ignorance because I don't know much about it. But you remember the ancient Chinese emperors that used to have lots of concubines?
Right.
And lots of those women didn't see the emperor for years.
Right.
And they often had children. Sometimes they didn't because the emperor didn't like them. And they lived a very lonely life.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I think that's built into the system, even with polygamy as presented on Sister Wives. Like it's
Yeah,
not as pronounced as that, but you see it, especially in the later seasons. You see that actually come to more fruition than them being a loving, united family.
yeah, and we're in
You know,
modern times, so that whole idea about my husband going to another house and be with another family, to me is so foreign and it's so different because I want all of my
Mhm.
time to be with my husband and with my kids.
Right, right. And he's like, "Well, I gotta go see the other one."
Exactly. And with Cody, it's like, oh well, I don't want to be here because you're not giving me time. You're not paying attention to me. I'm going to go to my other house. And
Right,
you're like, but we haven't finished our conversation. Oh, I'm just gonna go.
right, right. Well, it's uncomfortable for me, so I'm going to leave.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Right. Thanks for
It's
having me over.
yeah, thank you. Goodbye. It's
I'm gonna
like,
go ahead and take a plate. I ain't gonna make a plate before he bounce.
yeah, but I just made dinner and you're leaving. Yeah, yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
No.
right. I don't like what you have.
Yeah. Don't cook me
Yeah,
pasta.
right, right, right.
But that's the issue. The woman cannot go to another house to be with another husband.
Right, right. No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And
The
it,
the
it
man
is,
is yeah, the man is the one that has that what do you call that flexibility.
yeah, yeah. And like Cody said, even during that the one interview with the the brother and the friend,
Mhm.
when he was sitting there on the couch in season 18, when he was sitting there talking to his brother, he said, if I have an argument with one, I just go to the other wife's house. So it just keeps a lot of the problems at bay. Because if I have difficulty with one wife and I don't like the situation there, I just go to the next house. That
Exactly.
I
You're looking for more conflicts and you're never resolving the issue.
right, right, right. That's fair play. That's fair
Yeah.
play. Awesomeness.
What do
Well,
you
Lizzie
think
B.
about
No, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I just wanted to ask you a question. What do you think
Sure, sure.
about Cody having that same treatment but with his kids? Like the situation with Isabel surgery,
Mhm.
that screamed hypothetical hypocritical to me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, it's ironic because the same time he'll sit there and say like with even with the true root of or example of hypocrisy for me was when he sat there and said that when he was talking about Isabel's surgery and he said, well, she can go off to get it done by herself. It's not that big a deal. She could wait. How much pain is it? I would prefer she waited another year to have this surgery that was corrected. And the whole time her back was getting worse and it was causing her more and more pain.
No
And she was
empathy.
being,
No
oh,
empathy.
huh?
No empathy.
Yeah, exactly. No empathy. No, didn't care. Not a stitch. Not a stitch. But
Mhm.
then when you update it to season 18 and he's still talking about damn COVID. When I had COVID 2 years ago, I
Yeah.
almost died. And he to this day, he expects people to stop and say, because you were sick for a week. Because you were sick for a week.
Because a
People are
narcissist will
supposed to
always want attention. Yeah.
yeah, they're supposed to have all kinds of empathy and sympathy for your situation because you were sick, you were out of sorts for a week. But this girl had been suffering for years,
Yes.
years, and he couldn't understand that. So I think that that's a good example of him not, it's a sad situation. It's a
Not
sad situation.
understanding the pain, not helping financially because Christine covered all of that surgery and not
Right.
even going to the surgery. That those for me those are three strikes, three red
Mhm.
flags. And
Yeah.
that was completely unforgivable. So I understand Christine on that one.
Right. That's why she bounced.
Yeah, we bounce and I'm bouncing.
All right.
Goodbye,
Well,
James. Thank you for
thank
having
you
me.
so much for calling in. I appreciate you, Lizzie. Thank you for helping out with the moderator. I appreciate that as well.
Thank
Lizzie
you.
B,
Thank
let's
you.
give us
Thank you
some
for
dubs in the
trusting
chat.
me.
No, no,
Bye.
no worries. Thank you so much. I'm gonna give you something before you go.
Thank
Give you
you.
something
Bye,
real quick.
everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Lizzie B. Next up, we got Art Wilch. Art, what's going on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you speak a little louder?
Oh, yes, I sure can. Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry about my mic. Thank you for having me. Long time watcher. I
No
love
worries.
listening to you. And
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to also thank you for giving us this opportunity to think about Robin a little differently because I also see her as pretty malicious
Right.
in
Right.
general. But at the same time, I generally have the belief that people do what they think is best as they can. It's the only way I
Mm,
can really wrap my brain around how people sleep at night sometimes. Like, how do you sleep at night knowing what you've done long term? So,
hmm
when she was doing certain things, she must have thought to a certain extent, this is the best option. I am doing the right thing. Um, for example, the most recent one would be during the COVID stuff. I'm sorry, I probably wasn't supposed to say that word, but
No, no, you're fine. I think they have eased off of the
oh, thank goodness, yes. Um, Mary was really isolating, and her
yeah.
mother passed away. Like it was really rough. And when I was seeing it, I was really concerned for her mental health if she would stick around, if you know what I mean. And
Right. Right.
Robin, her supposed friend, couldn't give her the time of day, wouldn't let her
Mm,
come see the kids. Like, what is that about? How do
right.
you know that, or like, she must have known that Mary was hurting. So she
Right. And I
either
think
didn't care or really thought somehow she was doing the right thing. But when she was meeting with Kody at the truck and Kody was asking if Mary could come and hang out with the kids, Kody, who doesn't seem to want Mary around ever, was asking if she could come. She's like, oh no, don't do that. If we change the rules, then all the other wives will want to be around and we'll all get the illness. And it's like, no, because you would just explain to Janelle and Christine, like, Mary is doing literally everything on this list that we haven't given to you yet. So she is allowed to come.
right.
So, but yeah, that was the biggest one for me. And I was
hmm
surprised that Mary still kept sticking around because I'm like, you're never getting access to those kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? And I think that that's an excellent point because when you really take it down and you look at it, whether you're a Mary fan or not, like whether
Mhm.
you like her or you don't like her, just on a human level, we
Yeah.
have to feel some sympathy for her because she was committed to the family. Not only was she committed to the family, but Mary was also committed to Robin
Yeah.
because even up until season 18, maybe up until look back, she never questioned Robin's motives. In
Never.
fact, she spent a lot of time defending Robin, defending her position, saying that people didn't understand her, people didn't know what she was going through, and everything that Robin did. Mary was the one, aside from Kody, who tried to put it in the best shade or best light possible. And
Yes.
so, like you said, one of the things that really made me feel bad for Mary was that not only was she following the rules, Mary was 100% isolated in that house. She
Hmm.
was by herself. She was doing everything that Kody had asked her to do. She was took it upon herself and she was 100% in. And she wanted to see the kids. And if anything, she would have had a place or a space where Robin could have went over to her house, even if it was once a week, once every 2 weeks, and taking the kids over, and that would have filled Mary's days, and that
Yeah.
would have made Mary feel happy, even if Kody never came. And she at least would have had that bonding with Robin, which I think would have been important to Mary. And I think, like you said, that was something that was like it spoke a lot about where Robin was.
Yes. Yeah.
But no, good.
Yeah. That was basically the biggest one. Like, how can you say you are her friend? How can you say that you would never or could never stay in this family without Mary and
hmm
never give her the time of day?
Right, right.
You would pee on her if she was on fire, Robin. Like,
She was just burning. You just hold your water, like, and
for sure.
And that actually is in tandem with something that Lizzie B was saying, was just the way that Robyn had approached the family, because it was all about her and her situation, how things that were acceptable to her.
Mhm.
And when time for her to share that same sympathy or compassion for somebody else who might be in a like or similar situation, she just couldn't figure it out. She could never get around to doing that. And I think that that's one of the challenges, that when the audience members watch the show and they hear those stories and they hear what's going on, it's, editing aside,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for Robyn to be able to sidestep why she never went over to even check on Mary. Like,
Yes.
you didn't call her, you didn't, if because even, I had no idea, if she plays the typical, I had no idea that you were there by yourself and you were following all the COVID rules, but
I
you didn't call to find out either.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that
No, no.
bothers me so much about her. Was it Thanksgiving or somebody's birthday? Something was happening, and poor Mary was like, "Yeah, I got to be by myself. Might have been Easter, don't remember." But I was like, and she's like, "Oh, if only people would communicate." Tee hee. I wanted to punch her in the face.
Right, right.
Mary's completely alone.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
you could have picked up the phone. And I'm so happy that Mary has said, "Well, Robyn, you could call me once in a while. You literally never call." Like, thank
Right,
God she spoke and said something, because otherwise they would just let us believe that they're the closest.
right, right. And I think that that's a great point too, is that, but Mary did turn it around and say, like, you never called, you were never concerned about me. And hey, and she didn't, matter of fact, let's be honest. Mary didn't even say it in an accusatory tone or a way like, you don't never call me. What she did say is, we could be in touch more, we could call more, we could talk more. We have to get together to make sure that we're okay. Like, and she would give those hints. She didn't even say it in a mean or nasty way, you
No, she
know.
was really good about it. She approached it like a therapist would approach a situation with you. Like, "Oh, we and I statements as opposed to you never. I always." She didn't use those statements. She said, "We could work on this. I would like this to happen." Like, she was so gentle about it. And even the
Mhm.
breakup at the picnic table, like, I understand why she wanted that breakup the way she did. A lot of people wondered why Robyn was there. Robyn was the only one in denial about that relationship. So she had to be there, right?
Right. Right. Well, that and the fact that I think that, and to Mary's defense in that and making that judgment call,
Hmm.
I think that from Mary's perspective, in her mind, Kody wouldn't have told Robyn
Yeah.
about the situation. You know what I mean? So she had to make sure that Robyn was there, because Kody might have went home and not, oh, what did you talk to Mary about? Oh, nothing,
Yep.
and
And the
left it there.
cameras had to be there. I totally
Right.
get why she did the way she did it, because I believe both of them have been gaslighting her in different ways, taking turns. And so her head was all messed up, and plus her marriage helps her get into her heaven. That's hard.
Right.
That's really hard to let go of. So, as much as I believe that people are generally doing the best that they think is the best in their own brain, it might not be the best. They just think it is because of whatever's happening in their brain.
Mhm.
I like to believe that everybody's like that, but I still can't really come to terms with how Robyn sees it, how she justifies it. Like, she definitely sees herself as a victim. She
Mhm.
sees everybody as against her. I do think she was threatened by Christine quite a bit. Um, I'm not quite sure why, especially with the way Kody has disparaged Christine throughout the years. But yeah, like, she was threatened by her, and maybe because Christine was sort of the sun in which all the planets, the children, were orbiting. That's
Right.
it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's hard to have a relationship with people that you don't invest the time, energy, and effort into. But at the same time, you're jealous because you don't have that relationship. So it's like she kind of found herself in a kind of a canard of
She, yeah,
wanting something but not want to do the thing.
she kind of walked in and expected it to just sort of happen. And I had found in her most recent, like some of her interviews and stuff, not recent, but she talked as if she's been there with the family since day one. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, it's almost like her previous marriage didn't really happen. I don't know if
Right.
you noticed that, but like it feels like she talks as if she's been there since Mary's been there and she knows all the things, and that's why she was the Cody whisperer. And she even managed to convince the other women for a little while that she was the Cody whisperer.
Right.
The
Right.
level of skill that requires is
Yeah.
impressive and frightening.
Yeah. It's because I think that she had the knack to be able to play on other people's insecurities
Yes.
and making people feel comfortable with her because she recognized that she had a certain level of power and control. Well, I want to say power and control, but she had a certain influence over Cody, and the other wives recognized the influence that Robyn had, and so they deferred some of their power and some of their autonomy to her, hoping to use some of Robyn's influence on Cody to be able to maneuver in some of these relationships. But
Yeah.
Robyn just used that, it was a one-sided relationship to begin with. So it just never flourished to the point where the
She
other wives could benefit from it.
yeah, she kind of slowly chipped away. Like if you imagine a big piece of marble, and she's just from day one, because she seemed somewhat normal in the very first episode or two, but by the end of
Right.
the first season, you could see that she was taking massive inappropriate steps, even ignoring the kissing and stuff that they were doing before, pretending that they were chaste in other ways. She had
Right.
so much say over, like, she got her own house. She got to live separate. Like, she had more um, privileges than the other women ever did. And
Right.
I think the women used her favoritism to the best that they could at the time, right? In order to make sure that their own children's needs were being met, to make sure Cody would come and, show face in each house. But,
Mhm.
and I even get, her trying to get into this family that's coming into money to help support her own children and her alleged shopping situation. Um,
Right.
but at some point, she stopped seeing that goal. She didn't go, okay, my children's lives are secured now. I can relax a little bit, maybe let them outside once in a while. I think Robyn and Kody feed off of each other quite a bit, especially
Mhm.
now that they only have each other, and they're making each other even more anxious and
Right.
sick. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Because if you're with somebody, if you're already paranoid and you get with somebody who's also paranoid,
Hmm.
then you'll start seeing things that they don't see or that maybe they didn't really consider before. And you say, yeah, you need to start worrying about them outlets. What? Now all of a sudden you worried about the outlets too. And in
Right.
addition to all the other problems that you had, that they are validating because they're telling you that, yeah, everything that you're worried about, you should be worried about. But let me tell you some more stuff that you should be worried about. And like you said, they feed off of each other, they build off of each other, and sooner or later it becomes almost a competition where
Yeah.
where you have 10 problems, I have 15 problems. Oh, you have 15, I have 20. And
Yes.
before you know it, it's just a cycle
It's
of
a horrible cycle that
right.
feeds on each other. One last thing before I go. Um, Somebody was also saying that she was the prophetess of the family, and it reminded
Mhm.
me that of the early seasons where he did literally call her the prophetess. So I think
Right.
he was listening to her more than he would have normally because he put her on a pedestal. So it gave her
Right.
even more power than she already had, being the newest one, and that you know what
Mm.
I mean. So anyway, thanks again for having me.
No, thank you for coming up. I appreciate it. You
Yeah,
have a great night. We'll go
thank
ahead and
you.
give you gotta give you a little something on the way out. What the heck? My thing isn't working. Oh, here we go. Here you go. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. All right, all right. And next up, we have another person. But before we bring our next guest on, I just wanted to make a quick point that actually Art reminded me of one of the things that you can say about positive things you can say about Robyn is the fact that she does look out for her kids. Like most of the stuff that she puts on, like the reason I joined the family, the reason why I participated with Cody, the reason why I wanted to be on TV was for the betterment of my children. And she has been doing that systematically so far. We could say, like, there's some things you could probably say that, you know, maybe questionable parenting or things you might disagree with as far as like her parenting style, but she has secured a $2 million uh inheritance for her child, as well her kids, as well as, you know, as far as it stands right now, 4 acres of a 15-acre lot that she's secured for her kids, and prospectively Cody's 4 acres. So technically she may be sitting on top of 8 of the 15 acres on Coyote Pass, as well as the 6 acres that she has in Arizona with the $2 million house sits on. So she's doing pretty good for her kids. So we can also give her that. Next up, we have our next guest. This is Alex Smith coming in. What's going on, Alex? How you doing?
Good. How are you, James?
Doing great. Doing great. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a perspective from somebody who lived polygamy,
Okay.
and the things that the cameras don't catch. Because, see, Robyn came in systematically with and I believe it was purposeful, with the
Mhm.
idea of, I'm securing my children for the rest of their lives. Because coming in, now I was a third.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And I did not bring any children into the relationship. We had no children together.
Okay.
However, I can say that, as you pointed out with your last, comment about those 8 acres, if they ever needed college fund money, they sell off those acres on Coyote Pass. They have college paid for. It's
Right.
very, very easy. So she set up for her children for life. And I think she saw the advantages of, oh, I don't have to worry about anything because there's other women here who have already set the bar financially, and she got to benefit from the things that Christine, Janelle, Mary put into the relationship for years that she didn't ever have to worry about contributing.
Right. Right. And I
And
think
it's a very interesting thing when you look at it from that perspective.
no, I think that you're right. I think that that's a very interesting perspective in the sense that when you ooh, I'm sorry. I think I clunked myself out. When you look at it from the perspective of her coming into the family and providing for kids that already exist, like, so she's coming in, she has 3 kids from a previous relationship, and she, at the time, if if the story is as it's laid out in the show, it didn't seem like she had a whole lot going on for herself, and there wasn't a whole lot of prospect for her to be able to secure the type of future for her kids that she wanted. And how many people would say, for instance, that I would do anything for my kids? Would anything include getting married to a guy who has 3 additional wives, who prospectively may have a TV show coming, and who could potentially provide not only for you, but could provide for your children and your children's future? Would you be willing to sacrifice so that you can make those things happen? And I think that it's not hard to imagine a world in which you may marry into a family so that you could have the wherewithal to be able to provide for your children. So I think that that's an excellent point.
Right. And for me, it came down to a security blanket, I'll be honest. Of,
Mhm.
I'm not in the best physical health as a type 1 diabetic and have some other, issues. And so I looked at it from the perspective of, when I came into this, I'm going to have a family that, okay, I can be taken care of should anything happen to me physically. Now, mind you, that
Mhm.
did not happen. we had major arguments, which were the downgrade of our marriage. And I mean, at one point when I was sitting there watching, Kody being angry that Christine packed his stuff, I was like, oh hell, he's lucky that's all that happened, because I would have taken that stuff, put it on Robin's doorstep and set it on fire.
Right, right. Yeah,
Like I'm one of them women.
say they got some barbecue belongings, is what you said.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, the fact of watching her, and I'm sitting here, and it dawned on me that my relationship with him was in the exact same place that Cody's relationship was with Christine. Of the other wives were dictating our intimacy, and I'm not one that's going to stay either in a marriage that there's no intimacy in. And I see you every third day, and you're just off living your best life with these other women and your children with them, and it feels like I'm the second class citizen because I don't have children with you, which I can see how Mary would feel though too, sitting up
Right,
in that house by herself for years, being being told one thing by Kody off camera, and then seeing on camera a whole different side of Kody. I am sure she went through some things in her mind of like, which one is the truth here?
right, right, right. Well, let me ask you a question. Um, did you we obviously you don't have to answer, I won't be offending you say it's too far, James. But did you grow up in a seeing polygamy in your community? Or is it
I
something that
did
was
I did not. For me, I had someone I knew who married into a polygamous LDS family. Um, I am still friends with her to this day. I'm still friends with them to this day. And they have lived it successfully for 30 years, James.
wow,
But
okay.
but I will agree that the one thing that her husband says is the reality of it is that he cannot be equitous every single time, because there
Mm,
is no way that you can meet the needs of every person all the time. That's just not something that is a reality. And just like the women have to make sacrifices, a man is going to have to make sacrifices if he wants to live this.
right, right, right. Well, because I think that because something you had said earlier really struck a chord with me, because there is always the difference. It seems that in theory, polygamy is a great deal because, as Mary had talked about, as we've seen on the show, you would never be in a situation where you were alone. You had people that you could rely on, people who aren't just your friends, but these are people who are supposed to be closer than friends. They're supposed to be part of your family. And so, and so on some levels, they're part of your marriage. So, in theory, I could see the positives of it, but I think that the difficulty comes in, as with most things, is when you move away from theory and you try to put those theoretical ideas into practice. And I think that that's where a lot of the havoc is wrought, because and the difficulty level is way up there, because you do have to, what is it, the idea of, even though you may have a favorite as a husband, I don't think that you can make it blatantly clear that you have a favorite as a husband, because that's only going to uh take away from your other relationships. It'll
Absolutely. And
destroy your other
Cody made it
relationships.
obvious that Robin is the favorite. He can sit up
Right.
there and say all day long that he doesn't have a head wife or a favorite wife. But the reality is, we saw it played out on national television, dude. Everybody saw it played out on TV when you made your home office at Robin's house. Oh, but I was working. Yeah, but she's right upstairs. What, making your sandwiches and your lunch and everything else? Come on, dude. Come on. You weren't doing
Right.
that when you lived with the other three at the house in Utah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's a great point, is that one of the struggles, because I titled this as like trying to see Robin's side of things. But one of the struggles is that irregardless, and you also made a good point too, and it ties into this, but irregardless of whether you make the argument that we don't see everything, that the editing is bad, that there's things, more things going on behind the scenes, I agree with all those things could be possible. But the reality of something that you had said and brought up is that when you are in the relationship and you understand the person, your mate, to be a certain way. In Kody's sense, he's a certain way with Isabel and Christine's kids, right? And this, okay, Kody, he doesn't do homework. He doesn't tuck kids in the bed. That's not what he's about. And that's okay, because that's our relationship. But then you see on TV, Kody saying that, oh, I walk my Robin's kids to school, and I like to be there to tuck them in the bed at night. Every night, I like to see them go to sleep, and I like to hold their hands and sing songs with them. And that's a relationship that doesn't exist with you and your kids. Then that can become a problem. And I think that everything
Absolutely.
is, exacerbated because you're on TV.
It's
Because
an
now it's not
absolute
imagination; I see it.
it's an absolute problem, especially when, I mean, you go back to the earlier seasons and you see the OG kids,
Mm-hmm.
like Logan, for instance, getting up and making sure that the kids in Janelle's house have breakfast done. That should have been Cody's job, not a 14 or 15-year-old boy's job. That should have
Right.
been Kody manning up, getting up out of bed and taking over, knowing that Janelle's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be on a child. And then you see this inadequacy here too of, oh, I can't go be with my one kid because I can't be away from Robin's kids that long. Zoom works too just as well for Robin's kids as it does for Isabel. And that child having surgery should have been a priority.
Right.
Now I can say that, like, I may have left the relationship and we were not in a good place, but as far as the care of the children, my ex-husband was very, very adamant about all the children getting his time equally and effectively and efficiently, because those are his kids. Those
Okay.
kids should be prioritized above anybody else's personal feelings.
Okay. So in your perspective, your husband or your ex was good about dividing his time amongst the children?
Yes, he was really good about dividing time with the children. Us wives, not so much, but the children, yes. But I
Okay.
mean, it's a lot easier when you have, two kids as opposed to 20, or
Right, right.
24. But still, like, he could have spent the 2 weeks, quarantining or whatever,
Yeah,
after going
yeah.
to Isabel's surgery. Mr. I don't want to go to a surgery, but I want to dance with everybody without a mask on at a wedding.
Right, right.
You
As
know,
I'm denying that COVID is real, which is
right,
awesome
right,
too.
right. The COVID only exists when it's
Christine and Janelle's family and marriage.
right, exactly.
All right, right.
All right, thank you, James.
Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. Let me give you something before you go. I
All
want to
right.
make sure I celebrate everybody who calls in. Get your dance on. Thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate you. And thank you for sharing your story, because I think it's important that we get everybody's perspective. And regardless of whether it's something that I believe in or something that I could participate in, I think that we all have to acknowledge that there are people who can make anything work. And I think that one of the hardest or more complicated things, especially from the monogamous perspective, not that I'm a representative of the monogamous contingency, I think that one of the hard things, as somebody who's practiced and is practicing monogamy, one of the hard challenges is to see how I could make it work. And I think that that I oftentimes find myself challenged by that idea concept that I couldn't make it work. So I might put my failings and my shortcomings onto somebody else, saying that nobody could do this because I couldn't see how I could do it. But as Alex has pointed out, she said that she knew somebody who was successfully managing a 30-year polygamous relationship. We don't know what's going on in their household or their families or what their family structures look like. That's fine. And I understand that. But if they are happy and they're content in their world, then that's their business. I have no issue with people doing what they want to do as long as the kids are provided for and you ain't pulling no kids into this foolishness. Like, and this goes for monogamous relationships too. I don't want nobody trying to date no kids, as monogamous on a monogamous relationship. But great job, Alex. Liz Skinner coming through. She said, great job, Alex. I agree. Everybody keeping it positive on the phone lines, which is awesome. And I appreciate people calling in. Brittany, not Brittany, called in and kicking it off first, and Art and Lizzie B coming through. Everybody has cogent points and salient points. And I think that it's important for us to be able to share our ideas and be able to get our perspectives out to one another. Now, I'll leave it open for a little bit. If you guys want to hit me up, I'm going to drop the link in the box. And it's also at the top. If you guys see it, it's listed as a question where it says, here's the link. If you want to hit that link, if you want to join the show, you're more than welcome to come on and we can rock out with our socks out, as they say. Yeah, but very well spoken, very well done. Everybody's coming through. Yeah, but it's just interesting to me because, again, if I want to give Robyn any credit, the one thing, like I said, the one thing that I will have to give her is that at the end of the day, Robyn is providing for her children. Now, again, there are things that she does as a parent. Oh, my hands need a little lotion, but I just noticed. B-roll. There are things that she does as a parent that I might look at and be like, wouldn't necessarily do that, or just difference of opinion. Every parent has their own thing. Okay, so I'm not really smashing her on that front at all. Okay, because you got to deal with your kids the way you deal with your kids. But I will say that it's remarkable how she looks out for her kids. Robyn has been looking out for her kids since we first met her. That she's always put her kids in the forefront. Even with regard to the OG-13, I think that part of the difficulty and part of the complication that she has with the other parents as well as the other kids is the fact that she puts her kids up on a pedestal. She wants her kids to be treated a certain way, if not better than the other kids who are in the household. And that creates problems with the other wives. So with that being said, I have to give her that credit. So, Robyn may not be my hero, but she may be her kids' heroes, because she's looking out for her kids. Now, I think that there is a point where, if we're going to be all the way fair, I think that there is a point where we could make the assessment that Robyn does have a tendency, or at least it comes off on the screen. Sorry, Robyn, comes off on the screen that you're infantilizing your kids, that you're trying to keep them young, keep them babies, keep them under your control, under your power. That's the way it's being perceived on the camera to me. So even though I think you're looking out for your kids, I think that, there is a point where you have to allow your kids to grow up. You have to let, not to be too crass, but, at some point you got to pop your titty out of their mouth and let them grow up, as Major Payne once said, gotta let your kids grow up. So you have to allow them the freedom to grow up and that sense of security, that structure in the household. In fact, I'm going to do a video talking about this specifically. It'll be a shorter frame video, but I want to talk about it specifically because I think that is something that's worth exploring a little bit. Hey, Lorraine, how you doing? Again, if you guys want to join in, drop the link. You can come on. If you don't want to have your picture up, just leave your camera off. That's fine. Yeah, you know what? In Robyn's defense, and again, I want you guys to appreciate the heavy lifting I'm doing on this. Okay, I'm doing some heavy lifting. In Robyn's defense, I will say this as well. My brother, when I was a kid, story time. When I was a kid, my brother my younger brother said something that I carry to this day. I thought it was so profound when he said it. He said, you know, yeah, it's one of those things where you say something like that is it, the point right there. He said the only way people can walk all over you is if you lay down for them first. And I 100% agree with that sentiment. And by that, what I mean is this with regard to Robyn. As Robyn came into the family, she took advantage of a lot of situations, a lot of problems, and a lot of issues that the family had already had. And she was able to pinpoint those issues. There are people out there, whether it's a natural gift or it's just a sense that they have, are able to pick out weaknesses in other people's behavior or their relationships, and they're able to exploit those weaknesses for their own benefit, right? And when it came to Robyn coming into the family, because as I said earlier, I think that when Robyn came into the family, she wasn't necessarily looking to join the Brown family culture as much as she was expecting the Brown family culture to join her. She wanted to have things her way within the family. And with that being said, she was able to see certain weaknesses in relationships between Kody and Christine, Kody and Mary, Kody and Janelle, Janelle and Christine, Janelle and Mary, so on and so forth. Mix them up however you want. Put them in a bag, put them in a hat, shake them up, and figure it out. But she was able to take advantage of that. And she was able to make expectations or make rules or guidelines or demands to the family that they change their culture to suit her. And from that regard, I say, well, my brother said, nobody can walk all over you unless you lay down for them first. She wouldn't have been able to change anything in that family culture if people would have stood their ground, 10 toes down. I don't give a damn what it is. 10 toes down, I'm standing my ground. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. I'm not going to have my kids kowtowing to your kids. I'm not even playing that game. We're not even going to go that route. It's completely unacceptable. And had those things happen, I think that the storyline may very well have been changed. I think that the outcome may have changed. The relationship dynamics may have changed. There's another saying that I like that basically good strong fences make for good neighbors. Say it one more again. Strong fences make for good neighbors. And what I mean by that is that if you set strong boundaries, then it makes your relationships with other people work better. If you're able to set boundaries on what people can and can't do with you or to you, for you or against you, and you set those boundaries strong enough, then it makes your relationships easier to maintain. When it comes to Robyn and the OG3, you're looking at their situation and had those ladies say, look, here are my boundaries. Kody is not hanging out at your house before you get married. Point blank, period, the end. And Kody, if you want to go hang out at her house, then you're no longer welcome at this house. Hey, the OG3 said that about the Lehigh house. You could drive out there, see her for the day, and then bring your ass on back home. If you want to drive for 10 hours to see her, you stay at a hotel and not stay at her house while you're out there, and you guys go out on dates. You take one of the wives with you and you guys go out on dates so that they can supervise whatever the case may be. Or, I trust you and that's what you need to do. And they set those rules, those guidelines, then she would have come into the family understanding what it is. But when she comes into the family and the OG3 say, it's inappropriate for Kody to be able to drive 5 hours, 300 miles to go see Robyn for 3 days when he's only giving each one of these ladies one night at a time. He's going to drive out to see you for the weekend on his days off, and he's not going to be spending time with his kids. And it's not fair that she's in the rotation. Even when she moves to Lehigh, she gets a night to herself where Kody goes over to her house and spends the evening and spends the night with her. That's not appropriate. And had the OG3 made that boundary explicitly clear, even to Kody, this shit is not going to work. If you thought that you was going to go over there and spend the night with her and, and y'all not married and she's not part of the family, you are sadly mistaken, sir. And had they made that clear, then that would have started to set the boundaries and the expectations that Robyn could have in the influence that she would have on the Brown family. And that may have changed the projection of how she conducts or changed the dynamic of how she conducted herself within the relationship. And I think that that's very important as well. So I think that, like, when you're being honest about it, if we're going to be brutally honest about it, I think everybody has a little bit to do with it. Some people are way more at fault and have way more culpability. Cody's word, culpable, culpability. And some people have far more culpability than other people. Some people have far more responsibility for the failures of the relationship than other people. Everybody has a part, but certain people have far more culpability. But if I want to put Robyn in the best light possible, and give her that grace, that's part of the grace I give her. Part of the grace is that the other wives should have put up that wall, and they should have made it very clear that you are not coming in. You are not the boss. You're the boss of Jack shit, and Jack just left town. Okay, you're not running nothing over this way. Just so we're clear, this is not how our family works. You're not coming into the family changing this dynamic, because that's completely unacceptable to me. And you have to be very clear about what your boundaries are. And more to the point, this is where I've always said that, what has always worked for me is that I have to be honest with myself first about what I want, what it is I'm willing to put up with, what it is I'm willing to do, what it is I'm not willing to put up with, and what it is I'm not willing to do. And if I'm honest with myself, it gives me the freedom and the opportunity to be honest with other people and be honest about my situation and my relationship. I try to see people for who they are and see my relationships for what they are. So while I'm doing that, if I know that this is a situation that I can't do, like if my wife came in tomorrow and said, James, there's a guy who I saw yesterday at the mall or at the supermarket, and he got shoulders for days. They call him King Package. They call him the UPS man. They call him the mailman because he got the package, right? And they got all that. And I want to spend the night with him. I can't force her not to, do what she want to do. If she want to go spend the night with him, there's nothing I can do to stop it. But what I do have power and control over is what I'm gonna do when she makes that decision. That's where I draw the line. So if you're willing to do that, then this is what I'm willing to do. If I disagree, if Kody, because Christine clearly had a problem with Robyn or Kody spending time or going over to Robyn's house and hanging out at Robyn's house for the evening and doing all that, she had a problem with that. Mary had a problem with that. Janelle had a problem with that. Well, Janelle was kind of lukewarm. She didn't have I think she could have went either way. But I know Mary and Christine did not think that Robyn should have been getting equal time with Kody because she wasn't married to him. And if this is something you believe and you want to stand on it, you should have stood on it. And by you giving in and allowing people to step on you, walk on you, tread on you, treat you how they want to treat you, because you're just trying to go along to get along, then what you're doing is you're establishing expectations to where the next time they want to step over top of you, step on top of you, walk on your neck, or whatever the case may be, pissing your Cheerios, the next time they want to do it, they just look back to the last time she said that she ain't want me doing that. I did it, and then she ain't go nowhere. Oh well. So what's stopping me from doing it this time? It's almost like the guy or the girl who goes out and they cheat. And every time you tell, if you cheat on me, I'll believe you. He cheat or she cheat. She come back, apologize, tell you they sorry. They ain't never going to do it again. Oh, they feel terrible. That person ain't mean nothing to them. You take them back. Then what did they learn? They learn that if they get caught, they cheat. They get caught cheating. They just going to have to apologize. And you're going to take them back. So. Oh, what did Black Swan say? Black Swan said Kody was pre-whipped. He had that whoop on him. He got whooped up and wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that situation, even hurting and neglecting his longtime family. I think that that's true, but at some point, you have to put it where the goats could get it. Even with individuals like that, you got to put it where the goats could get it. If he's willing to, one of the things, like in an example I just mentioned with the cheating thing, I appreciate the comment, Black Swan. I see where you're coming from, and I agree with it to a point. I do, but if you put it where what I just said, like the whole cheating thing, and the one thing that always kind of tickles me is when people say, "Yeah, I was cheating," and that person didn't mean nothing. They didn't mean nothing to me. Didn't mean anything, right? One of the things that trips me out when you say that is that if you tell somebody you cheat on me with somebody who meant nothing to you, then that tells me that you're willing to give up everything for nothing. You're willing to throw away your entire relationship, my relationship with you. You're willing to give that away for no reason at all. It wasn't this great thing where it's an opportunity. I could not take this opportunity. I had to let you go. I did it because for nothing. I did it for no reason. It was unimportant to me. That which means that my relationship with you is less than nothing. In that same situation, when you make the assertion that this is why I'm not a fan of like constantly telling people you're gonna break up with them. You break up with them. You break up with them this week. They say something. They leave the toilet seat up. You break up with them. They leave the cap off. She leave the cap off. The toothpaste. You break up with her. You don't turn the faucet off all the way. You break up with them. I'm getting a divorce, right? Then at that point, the loss of your relationship doesn't mean anything to them. If you're going to, I say that as a foundation for this. If you're going to make the position that something is completely unacceptable to you, it has to be clear that when you say it's unacceptable, that means that this relationship is no longer viable. If you do X, Y, and Z, this relationship is no longer viable. In other words, we don't have a relationship anymore. So if I say that no, to my wife, no, it's unacceptable for you to go out and sleep with the pool boy at the local pool, or the tree guy or the mailman. It's unacceptable for you to do that, and she does it anyway. Then my only recourse is that, okay, well, I can't be in a relationship anymore because that's a bridge too far for me. That's a reason for me to terminate the relationship. If those parameters are clear and somebody makes that decision, they make that decision. If Robyn threatens Kody, and I do think she threw it up on him. Don't get me wrong, Black Swan. I agree with you. I think she threw it on him. I think she threw the kitchen sink at his ass. He couldn't handle it. She threw that leg up on him, right? And he ain't from the world. He ain't of the world. He don't know what it's about. So she probably did some things, maybe switched it up on him a little bit. He didn't know how to handle it. All of a sudden she is super freaky dinky. And then I got to keep that. He couldn't handle it. But if he's looking at that good time, but he's also looking at the fact that he no longer has a house in Lehigh, he can't do a TV show. Because even in that situation, I'll put it this way. Let's use the scenario that we have. If he said to Robyn, asked him to do something, she came by and she threw that pencil box on him. Bang, bang, right? Hit him right way. And she said, I want you to ABC. He went back to Lehigh, the house in Lehigh, and said, look, Robyn wants us to ABC and we gonna do it. If those women said, no, you won't, and if you try to do ABC, then we out of here. And more importantly, if they'd have said, and he said, I don't care if you want to leave, there's the door. Say, okay, well, you understand that if we leave, we taking the show with us. No show, no Robyn. Let's keep it all the way a stack. No show, no Robyn. Okay. they had, and this is one of those weird points that I'll make too. I think that ultimately people have far more power in their relationships than they themselves give themselves credit for having. I think you have far more power in your relationships than you recognize. Because even in that situation, maybe by themselves, stand alone, Christine, Mary, or Janelle wouldn't have been enough to convince Kody not to give in to Robyn. But stand on the prospect of them not being able to do the show, and stand on the prospect that if they don't have the show, he doesn't have Robyn, because Robyn ain't gonna try to hang out with Kody, broke Kody, and his 3 wives, and she has 3 kids to take care of herself. Then she gonna have to work. She started hanging out with Kody. She stopped working. There was benefits to her being with Kody while he's about to get this show. Then all of a sudden, you jeopardizing the show, and these wives are like, "Look, if you go over, you carry your ass over to her house, and you go over there for the evening, then we're not doing the show." Guess what? He'll pull up. He'll straighten it out. Uh-oh. Oh shit. Uh-oh, pardon my French. We got another guest, y'all. Bronze Empress in the house. What's up, Bronze Empress? How you doing?
How you doing, James?
Doing well, doing well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wonderful show.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh my
Welcome
goodness.
in. So what did you have to say? What was your take?
Everything y'all been saying tonight is absolutely true. Calculated Robyn. I know you want to try to put her as the hero. She ain't gonna make it though.
Yeah, I'm trying. You see, I'm doing all this heavy lifting. My back
It's like
hurts.
trying to get blood out of a rock, man. I know you're trying, but then you ain't making it.
I keep trying to pull up, but I keep hitting the mountains. You know what I mean?
I know you were right about one thing. She did think she kept her kids in mind. She did make a way for them, but she was a wrecking ball to this entire family from day one.
Yeah.
Day one. I
I
mean,
100% agree.
yeah, Kody packing bags, had the kids packing bags to go see his girlfriend. You know, that kind of stuff. Don't try to say you were chased. Don't even try to explain to us later when they were on their honeymoon. You know, we did the marriage act. Oh, please stop it.
Right.
Need to be hit in the face talking about marriage act. You can't even say it after you've been doing it all that time before you got married. Stop lying.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been very, very straight up about that. Like, I don't know too many guys that's driving 5 hours to go sit on somebody's couch.
Oh
You
no.
know.
Oh no. I asked my husband about that.
And
And my brother.
what did he say?
He said, girl, please. He said, I only let you play hard to give a couple of times. I said, I know, right?
Right. Like, I'm not even trying to drive across town.
Exactly. I said, you weren't even driving 4 hours to see me. I said, oh no, I wouldn't even, that, and try to, make the public believe it was anything different. Kody was acting completely different, changed habits, you know, it was just a mess. And then
Right.
she knew she had him, and he was sharing the way his other relationships, the status and what they were. That's how she knew how to bargain for her marriage. She knew exactly what to bargain for because she knew he privied her to all of the information about the other 3.
Wow. You know what? No, I was gonna say, because just real quick, there's something you said really hit me. Sharing information. This is where you talk to your friends or whatever. If you have a snaky, shifty ass friend, this is where it gets dangerous, because your friend is sitting there listening like, oh, he sit up there complaining because I talk about I won't let him watch the game, and then all they got to do is go back and be like, I like my man watch the game, and I like bringing them sandwiches.
Yeah, I'll make you all the snacks you want, baby. Hey.
Right.
All you gotta do is give them an inroad to deliver on what they say they're not getting one way, that you can provide the other way. And that's what she did.
Yeah.
That's what she did. She knew for sure that he was not in love with Mary, because you can tell he let the cat out the bag at the picnic table last season. He said the sacred covenant they made, and she mentioned it too. She said, if you ever didn't love me, you'd have to let me go. So how did
Yeah.
you bargain that far ahead? Because you knew he
Right.
didn't love her from the day you came in.
Right. Right. And I'd
Now we,
always thought that too. Like that was something that
yeah,
he had said to her, like, "Oh yeah, me and Mary, we have a loveless relationship." Da 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 da. And
yeah,
she responds, "Well, if you ever in a situation like that with me, I don't want you to treat me like you treating her." And
exactly.
that's how I took it.
Oh yeah, came in talking about Kody. Where do I put a bill? I have a bill. Where do I put it? If I was Janelle, I would have told her, "Don't make it if you can't pay it." Because let's be real.
Right.
Janelle is
Right.
her real spouse. If we really want to look at this for facts, Janelle is her real spouse because she took care of her for 12 years.
Right. Right.
Come on.
So well, you say, I got a place for you to put that bill.
Yeah. Don't make it
Yeah.
if you can't pay it.
Right.
You
Great
know,
point.
I
Don't make it if you can't pay it. I love it. I
mhm.
love it. But
Christine.
that's also a great point too, just on the sense that the expectations were different when they entered into the family, because her expectation was that she was going to be taken care of and pampered. And again, that's kind of where I say like those boundaries come in, because had Janelle, like a point you pointed out or just brought up, Janelle was in fact the bread earner. She was
Mm-hmm.
she was the breadwinner. I don't even think she was the co-breadwinner like with her and Kody. I think she was the chief breadwinner, and Kody was supplementing Janelle, because
Yes.
when he had to make purchases, who did he go and ask about making purchases? And
Janelle.
Janelle had ultimate veto power. She told him a couple
Mm-hmm.
times, "No, we're not doing that."
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if you
I
making your
don't.
own money, everybody know. If your wife, your husband got their own money, be like, "Yeah, I want to get a sandwich." No, I don't
Yeah.
want a sandwich. He just take his money and go get it.
Yeah. No, me
You know
and
what I mean? Come
If I
back
was,
smelling like onions.
yeah, Janelle should have had a real money conversation with
Mm,
Kody before they got married. Because really,
right.
what they were doing, if you want to look at it from a business aspect, they were having a merger. You got
Mm-hmm.
this girl coming in 40K in debt. She in the hole. We already in the hole. And you bringing her in, that's going to put us further down. We got what? 16 kids? That's
Right.
going to be 16 kids plus us to feed. And you know the way that we do, we have kids right off, right?
Mm,
So he need to think about all of it. What are you going to do to bring some more money in since you like her so much? What are you going to do? Because you selling these billboards and stuff ain't making it, bud.
right. Right. You got to get another job. Got to
Yeah.
go get another gig.
Yeah, because I don't care what nobody say, and I'm gonna tell you, a marriage is a merger. It is when you
Right.
look at it, you are joining the finances of together. That has to be
Absolutely.
talked about prior. And then for her to even have a checkbook in her hand to write a check for a house made me want to just choke. I'm like, where you get a checkbook? When
Where that
everybody
come
was
from?
writing their checks for their down payment for the houses in Vegas, I'm like, where'd she get a checkbook from? You don't even have a job. What's going on with
Right.
that?
Right. Hey, how come you got? Why are you still dropping bills off? You got a checkbook.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. How am I still paying your bills?
Yeah. I mean,
But
no, she really did marry in. I think now maybe Mary, thank goodness her friend, Jen, what is her name?
Jen, yeah.
Jen has shown her the light as far
Mm,
as what happened. Uh but yeah, letting her sit home during Easter, not calling her during COVID. She was never her friend. Ever. Ever,
no,
ever, ever. Never.
no. And to be honest with you, that's an excellent point too. I'm glad you brought that up about marriages being a merger, because I think that so much of it is that as it gets tied in, the weird thing about marriage is because there are emotions, and it's so cornerstone on the emotion of love and compassion and all that, when to start a family, that the financial end of it is often overlooked.
Right.
And this is part of the reason why, if you do plan on getting married, I always say to folks, like somebody, like people told me when I was a young buck, when you start plan on, getting married, and you want to meet somebody, and you want to spend that time, make sure you have those conversations before you get married. How much debt do you
Yes.
have? How do you
Yes.
spend money? How do you save money? What are
Yeah.
your intentions? How do you use money? How do you see money? Not just
Right.
like the black and white part of it, like the debt that they owe, debt to income ratios, but you also want to look at like what is your relationship with money? Do you see
Yeah.
money as like, oh, money just come to me, so I just spend it however I want? Or are you good with money?
Yeah.
Because that's going to impact you. And aside from like infidelity and people cheating, when push comes down to shove, money breaks up. I think money breaks up way more relationships
I think
than
that's
anything
one
else.
of the top two reasons. Money.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because even with kids, like half the time you arguing over what you're gonna spend on them children.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I
And so
can
yeah,
understand
money plays a big part.
she had 40K debt, right? But then she
60.
said, how much? Was it
I
60?
think it was 60 when she came in.
Oh,
Yeah.
that make it even worse. She when
Mm.
she told Kody, I've never had a crib before. So don't that make you wonder what were you buying, dummy?
Right,
What were you
right,
buying? You had 3 kids, right? So you
right,
mean to tell me
right,
all you spent your husband, your ex's money 2 times from what allegedly from what we
right,
heard, right?
right.
Then you came into this family, they cleared your debt. You ain't never had a crib. What did you spend 40K on? Was it
Yeah, where
all
the money go?
Victoria's? Was it all
Yeah.
Victoria's? So we know you're not good with money.
Well, she said in her defense, because that's the show. She said She said that the reason she had to get Victoria's clothing was because she had an extra long inseam and she couldn't find clothes anywhere else. That's what she
Lies,
said.
lies.
Yeah.
Sears made Levi's. You and I both know Levi's are met with she had Sears, JC Penney. She can go get the
Right.
extra long. Stop it. She did that was girl. Try with somebody that don't know. Try with somebody that don't know, girl. You were
Somebody
spending
who ain't
money on
saved a
things you
nickel.
had. Yeah, she had spending money on stuff she had no business, driving herself into debt, and then turned around and did it to them. Took all
Right.
that money. She is not a builder. She is what you remember. What did Tyler Perry say? The 20 for the 80. She's that 20. Kody got the 20 and dumped 380s.
Right. Right.
Dumped
Right.
380s for a 20. She is not gonna help him rebuild when they blow all the money they got left because they're gonna do it.
Right. Right. And
They're
and
gonna
I've
do it.
always said that too. Like if she wasn't there to help you put it together, and she wasn't there to help you make it, then she's there and she's only there to help you spend it. When it's gone, she don't know how to struggle with you. She
No,
don't know what the struggle game look
absolutely
like.
not.
So when you sit up there trying to figure out, talk about we're gonna make some sandwiches and we don't have
Yeah,
all we got is bread. You know what I mean?
no,
Some of them jam sandwiches, take 2 pieces of bread, you jam them together. Like
yeah,
she don't know
no,
nothing about that.
no.
She's
This the
still
woman that
looking for the
had debt.
takeout menus.
Yeah, this the woman that had debt in 3 names. So
Yeah, right.
if anything,
Got
she
more
know how
names
to
in a phone book.
yeah, she know how to maneuver. So she gonna maneuver you. She did it. She tried to do it to the first one. Poor man. That she didn't have to do him dirty like that. So Kody, you watched her do that. That means she's not far off from doing that to you. You gotta watch
Right.
people. If they'll do
Right.
that to somebody else, they'll do it to you. It's only a matter of time in the situation. What do we call it in the hood? Space and opportunity.
Right. And that's the whole thing too, is that when push comes down to shove, like even when Kody in that last was it the tell all, when he sat there and was criticizing Christina, he said, a good man is gonna see how you treated your last man. And I'm like, the whole time I'm like, bruh, listen to what you saying. You watched her run a dude into the ground.
Yeah.
And then she took his kids.
Yep.
Like she broke them financially. Then she takes his kids, have another dude, adopt his kids, won't let him see his kids. And then you're going to sit there and stand by her like you're immune from that.
Yeah.
Like she's going to do the same thing. People are who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, bro, you got to come. Like it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Once that show ends, you can look at how they spending their money. I'm like, okay, so they like baubles and jewelry, paintings, which they probably don't know how to buy a painting. My husband is an antique dealer, so
Okay.
I'm looking at what they're purchasing, and just watching him and learning from him. If the paintings you're buying, if the artist is still alive, if they're not, post prosperity, it's like you can't really do anything with it. It's just it's something nice to have, unless that artist was a very well-known artist and their work is, well sought after. But that kind of stuff, look at all the ATV he had in the last season that he rode off on. The parking lot at the mansion looks like a used car parking lot. You could tell what they spend their money on.
Right.
You could they're not gonna have anything left to completely develop Coyote Pass. that's mogul status. You need to be able to do that. That's not them, especially now that they're down to 2 salaries. Please,
Right. Right.
it's not gonna happen.
Well, like I said, that's why he crying they left.
Yeah,
I took 60%. I took a 60% pay cut.
yeah.
I'm hurt. You know, I mean, that shit hurts. But
I
even
just
then, like you were saying about the parking lot or the out in front of the house, like it's just understanding how money works. Because
yeah,
when you buy cars are liabilities, they're not assets. So if
right.
you're buying a bunch of cars, it doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
Even with the paintings and stuff that's on the wall. Okay, fine. You have a painting that you might have bought for 5, 10, 15, $30,000 a painting. But
Mm-hmm.
unless you have somebody lined up who is willing to spend $30,000 on that painting,
Exactly.
you just lost money. You know, and I think that
Exactly.
that's what you were talking about with regard to understanding, like, whether the status of the artist, whether it's a posthumous, whether it's posthumous valuation, the artist
Right.
passed away, whether he was tied up into some kind of crazy
Mm-hmm.
scandal or whatever that makes his art worth more money or something ridiculous like that.
Yep.
But you know, them paintings, they'll sell them high and they'll be worth nothing after
Right.
4 or 5 years. So you
Oh
really
yeah.
have to know what you're doing.
And Kody don't. Kody does
long
not know what
short,
he's
yeah.
doing. He showed us that plenty of times. You saw those. First of all, you got those houses in Vegas. That was the best thing they could have done, was stayed there. Then you turn around and sold them during the market, the worst market. It was a buyer's market. It was not a seller's
Mhm.
market. It wasn't. That's why they had to
Right.
keep cutting the price and doing strange things, and they wouldn't. It took forever to do. And then you took your family, your 20 plus family, to one of the most expensive cities in the country, thinking you just go, hey, we're just gonna go there. You dope. You are
Right.
you are
Right.
you for real? I couldn't even follow a man like that. What did the book say? They moved around like 18 or 19 times.
Right.
That's like
Right.
every year he had only been married to the other 3, what, 16, 17
Yeah, I think when
years?
the show started, it was like they were on their 15th wedding anniversary.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So
I think, yeah.
yeah. So he moved them, let's just say, every year.
Mhm.
Every year. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah, because even with the like you mentioned, the Las Vegas homes, the ironic part is that had he held on to, like, even Mary's house, had he held on to it for 2 more years, that
Mm-hmm.
house was bought and then they sold it again, I think after 2 years, and they sold it for like $1.5 million. So had they
Right.
waited 2 years, they would have had at least another 500 to $600,000 equity within that one
Right.
house.
Right.
You know, and it's crazy to me. And then, like you said, like, it's, you move to a market that, like, in order for them to develop Coyote Pass, when you
Mm-hmm.
said mogul status, the truth of
Mm-hmm.
the matter is that for them to develop Coyote Pass with the land development, not even building houses, the land development by itself might cost them $2 million just to develop the land properly.
Right.
You know, with the seeing with the coyotes with the coyote poison poop on the properties,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so much so
Disinfected,
that,
clean it or something.
like,
What they said? Yeah.
yeah, the real estate agent was like, don't let them touch the dirt because they'll get
Wow.
sick. Like, don't,
Wow.
you can't touch dirt.
Yeah.
Like, that is poison. Like, so yeah, and then for them to put a house on a property or a house on those houses on those properties, you look at another, you know, what is it, about $400,000 or $500,000, depending on the size of the house,
Right.
just for the house. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not including the development and everything else that goes into it. So no, you can't afford it. Just
No.
sell the property, sell it, you know, and move somewhere reasonable. That's how Janelle was able to go down to North Carolina and pick up 156 acres for $300,000 when it cost them $800,000 to get the damn Coyote Pass land.
And if I was Janelle, we still got to sit down and talk about Coyote Pass. Y'all got to buy me out.
You know that's right. You know
We could
that's
do
right.
this. We could do this the easy way, where y'all just buy me out and I walk away, or we could do this the hard way, where I go get a forensic accountant.
Right.
So we
Right.
could do it whatever way, because y'all gonna end up with the short end of the stick. Then you're gonna be mortgaging your house again. Because there's a couple of mortgages where people have been looking at the McMansion, been mortgaged a couple of times.
Right. Right. Which is, again, that just goes to the way that they spend money and their relationship with money. Because when you
Absolutely.
are in a mindset that you're always trying to have the new and the fancy and the stylish, and you got to have top of the line clothing, jewelry, clothes, cars, got to buy pocket bikes for your kids, got to have motorcycles and all that. That money has to come from somewhere.
Yep.
And if you have that income coming in like you used to, then you got to get it from someplace. And the place that they have is the equity in their house.
Yep.
But that's all money that has to get paid back. Like it's like most credit. It's not free money. Like they're lending you that money and they expect to get it back with some more money on top of it.
Oh yeah. Janelle,
You know?
well, she cashed out her retirement and they got the proceeds from Mary's house and Janelle's house in Vegas to get the house in Flagstaff. That's way too much money that flowed through on that end. For her, only for her to benefit from it, act like she's not, and then have the audacity to sit at that lunch table and say, I want 4 acres too. Girl, I would have flipped that table if I was Mary. Mary don't know. See, that was my problem with Mary. Mary got married to me. Mary got married too young. She's one of those girls that needed to cook a little more. You know, we all have our little friend groups when we're that age, and you always got that one, don't need to get married too early, need to wait and experience life a little so that she knows what she's doing. Then, go ahead and parents, her father could find a decent husband for her if that's the way they did that. But Mary got married way too early. She was definitely in love with Kody. Kody was dumb. And all he did was, after a while, took advantage of her because he didn't know how to handle her.
Right.
He couldn't handle her. Look what happened when Janelle came in. Janelle was like, what in the world? She felt slighted. Now you got my sister-in-law now is my sister wife. She was having all kind of issues trying to accept all that. So now you 15, 16 years down the line, you got somebody 10 years younger than her coming in. And by the way, she's only 6 years younger than Christine. She want to make it seem like a 16. Girl, it's only 6. You're not that much younger. Stop it.
Right. Y'all just missed high school together.
Yeah, exactly. You would have been in the same school. Stop it.
Right.
Yeah, only to sit there and look Mary in the eye and say, I want 4 acres too. And then she was cool with her getting 2, knowing that she's put money in her pocket. It would have been some slow singing and some flower bringing. I'm telling you.
Right.
For the 2 of them, it would have been a double, okay?
Right. You know what? And it's funny you say that because I was saying the same thing. Like we done told Coyote Pass up.
Oh yeah,
tore that whole spot up.
It would have been dust everywhere.
You gonna bring me up here to this mountainside? All I need is a shovel. And I can put you right here. You can stay up here because the way they did it too, it was insane. That because even with the mindset that okay, well, we get 4 acres and you get 2. Even with between Mary and Janelle, especially, that when they sold their houses, their money for their houses is sitting in Coyote Pass and sitting in Robyn's house.
Yes.
So if you really want to have this conversation, like you said, we could crack them books open and we can figure out where the money is that came in to put your down payment on your house. And we can start talking about your house instead of talking about Coyote Pass because that house is worth $2 million. So you want to try to hold on to that. So don't play with me if you want to. I mean, we're going to play. But
and just because he closed, what is it? Kody Brown Entertainment don't mean I can't sue Dab Star.
Right.
If I was Janelle, you can get papers either way, buddy. Like I said, easy way or the hard way.
Right. And it's not, and as quiet as it's kept, like I understand, like the there's a bit of a obstacle in suing a LLC, limited liability corporation, or when people incorporate themselves. There is a corporate veil there. The corporate veil, which is the corporate veil, is the protection that you receive as a private individual. If I set up an LLC or an incorporation, for those who might not know, if I set that up, I'm protecting my assets. So essentially, I'm setting up another entity that exists unto itself. So if I do business as like my take on Reality Incorporated, if I do business, I put a car in that business's name. If I get in a car accident with that car and it's in the name of my business, then you can sue my business, but you can't come after my personal assets like my house.
Correct.
But if you find out that I've been mixing and matching and swipping and swapping the assets between my using my take on reality as my personal bank account, then that's a method for you to be able to pierce the corporate veil, or for you to get around that protection. So if they were using the money from, and this is where it gets sticky, because people say that Janelle and OG3 don't have any legal recourse because they weren't the legal spouses of Kody. It's not about them being legal spouses to Kody. They were partners in the Kody Brown Entertainment LLC,
Right.
that business, and they put money into that business. And if they didn't realize their investment in that business because Kody misappropriated those funds or used those funds for his personal use, and they didn't receive any benefit from it, then they do have an avenue where they can try to go after him for that money.
Absolutely.
And even if he transferred some of those assets to Dabsark is now vulnerable because you pulled Dabsark into it. That separate entity now becomes a co-conspirator in the mismanagement of those funds. So, like you said, like you do not want to. If Kody, if you watching the show, please do not play with them. Just give them their cut.
Just give it to him. Don't even. And his worst nightmare would be if Mary and Janelle could put their situation to the side to team up. That would be his worst nightmare. That would be his worst nightmare. He thinks poverty. He thinks poverty is them two putting their situation aside to deal with you. That's your worst nightmare. Your second one is having to pay when they get done with you.
Right. That team up. You ought to be worried about that team up.
Exactly.
Poverty gonna do what it's gonna do, but that team up is gonna crush it. And what makes it worse, even as I think Vixen and a few other people have pointed out, like the truth of the matter is that if the two of them come after you and they break your pockets off just right, then Robyn is out the door anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna lose. You on the precipice where you could lose everything. When I say everything, I mean everything.
Everything. Everything.
Right. So don't do it to yourself. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to be as fair as I can. Fair is what you get when you get on the bus, by the way. But I'm trying to be fair. But I'm telling you, like bad things can happen. And this is just and maybe there's stuff that we don't know about and there's stuff behind the scenes. Okay, fine. But if it is anywhere close to what we're seeing on the screen, I'm telling you, Kody has problems. Robyn has problems. Like this is not everything ain't washed out because Janelle's got her land, Christine's got her land, and Mary has the inn in Parawan.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Because you still owe money. You know what I mean? And my money, what I did with my money has nothing to do with the money you owe me.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they're gonna do this coming season with them not wanting to film in a house and all those kind of strange things. Who they gonna film with?
Right.
Everybody's moving to all these other states, and of course they can always film in Flagstaff by getting Airbnbs and trying to give the illusion of them being there. But at this point, we already know they all have moved out of state. Everybody is in other states. I mean, we can get through one season of that, but how you going to keep that going with, Kody and her don't want to film in the house, or she has her ways about her. Don't nobody want to film with them. So it's the two of them. And then everybody else, who we're really interested in, they're in other states.
Right. And that's what I was saying. Like, because even with Kody and Robyn, in addition to what you were saying about them not wanting to film in the house, they don't want to talk about their relationship at all. So if you guys don't want to talk about your relationship, what are you going to talk about? Because I don't really want to hear you talk about Christine and Janelle and complain. Like you've been complaining about them for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And even in the last season, that was kind of getting long in the tooth.
Right.
So I'm not sure where you're going to take it next. This is why I'm saying, like, I think that one of the vulnerable situations that they're in now is that they've experienced the pay cut. Robyn and Kody have experienced a 60% pay cut because the wives are off doing their own thing. But in addition to that, I'm not sure how long this show can continue because, like you were saying, and I think I've said it earlier, is that I don't see a natural way that they would even be in a room or be associated with each other. and dealing with each other. And because it doesn't come off natural, the only time you guys will be getting together is when you're filming, and it's clear that the only reason why you're in a room together is because it's filming, and you would have to construct a storyline because you don't have enough of a relationship to actually have a problem with each other.
Right.
And I don't know how long that can go, which also goes to the fact that when you do this type of program, you get cast as a reality star or even in TV or movies. You have the football or baseball, basketball, sports, a rap career, dance career, whatever. You have to recognize that anytime you have a job, it's an opportunity. It's not a career.
Mm-mm.
Like, so all the money that they, like you said, they put all that money in the front of their yard in the parking lot. They call a driveway. You put all your money there. Your opportunity is about to leave.
Yep.
And if you didn't take care of yourself or build a business or build something where you can keep making money even after this opportunity is over, then you're going to be in trouble. And I think that's where so many people think that Kody's actually going to get left, because once the show ends and the money's not coming in anymore, what do? How do you keep the wife that you've basically groomed and nurtured your relationship so that she relies on the money that you bring in? How do you keep her?
No, that's gonna be for him to figure out, because they're not gonna be able to do. I don't really see this show being interesting past this season. It's like, well, how? Because even if they're ahead, they already filmed season 19, right? So it's gonna air in a month or so. So everybody's moved and has lives other places. What are you gonna do for season 20? There's nothing left.
Right.
Not unless you go to the other side of the family and you film everybody in their new lives. You know, Christine and her husband and stepkids and Janelle and everybody. You know, you can do that, but there's nothing on the Flagstaff side because they want to hide everything. Robyn doesn't want to say, and she don't want to put her kids on camera. That was for the other kids to be on, the 13. Put them on camera. Leave mine in the background with the nanny. I don't want my kids subjected to too much camera time.
Right.
But she was successful at doing that. If you really look back, her kids weren't on camera with a whole lot of life things. I mean, graduation, the oldest girl had a panic attack on camera, but you didn't really see a whole lot of their upbringing. She hid a lot. She hid a lot.
I think the only things you really saw with her kids was, one, you saw when they were trying to adopt the kids, them going off to spend time with the dad. That was the one time that they were vulnerable. The second time was when Dayton had, after his accident, and he had to go in for the surgery, the accident that Kody was responsible for on a 4-wheeler. And he had to go for the surgery. You saw a little bit of that. Like, oh, he's got to go for the surgery. But other than that, you're right.
We saw it after the background.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it after the fact. You're like, that kind of stuff. We didn't. I don't know if it happened off camera or they didn't. They weren't filming that, but we did hear about him having to have surgery because of that bad accident he had.
Right.
But
I wanted to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that they actually have the accident on film. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And they just didn't show it because it would have made them look bad. Like, it would have made them look bad.
Good point.
Because Kody caught a lot of hell when McKelty fell off that horse. Hell, I got I think 2 videos about McKelty falling off that horse. When she fell off the horse, he caught a lot of crap for that. So I can only imagine, like, this little boy run into a damn fence, no helmet on, no insurance, and he's out there on the back of a ATV that he's not used to, and he runs himself into a barbed wire fence and almost cuts his eye out. Like,
look at Truly. Truly almost died under his care.
You're right.
I don't know why none of them wives should leave their kids with Kody.
Right.
None of them. No,
that should have been the last time.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you ever saw Christine leave. Like, now that I think about it, I don't think Christine ever left Truly with him again after that.
No. We knew where his attention was. All those wives were gone. He wasn't even watching them close enough, even after who was her name? Not Isabel. What's the oldest girl?
Aspen.
Aspen. Even after Aspen was telling him it's something wrong, he was dismissive. She had to
Right.
really keep getting on him to say, is something wrong with Truly?
Right.
So you wasn't watching your baby that close enough to know she wasn't even drinking the water? Whoa. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
And
Yeah.
that's a weird thing too, because who has a sick baby don't make sure that they have water or they have food. Like you should know that they eating. Oh, she's not really eating. You go get her some soup or something,
Yeah.
something. So if she doesn't have water, because even soup has water in it. So like if she's dehydrated, she's not
Yeah.
drinking anything. So you're not even
Yeah.
making sure she's getting any basic nutrition,
No.
Yeah, which is
Nah, Kody,
insane.
he reminds me of somebody who was coddled all his life at home.
Mhm.
You can tell it looks like he was at the, I think you mentioned it. He was at the ranch and bit half of his mother's burrito. Was hers is mine. And what,
Yeah.
that's stupid. Really?
Right.
And
That
then he
was
turned around and
disrespectful as hell.
yeah, and then get a wife at 20, what, 21,
Mhm.
22?
I
You
think
don't
he
know
was 21,
nothing.
she was 19. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know nothing about taking care of a wife. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. He
And
was
you
still
got
in that selfish phase. Look at me. I'm here. I want to be the center of attention. Yeah, that's not even, no way.
right.
Mm-mm. And then had no means to take care of him. And then they sat there and build with him, only for everything to end up in the hands of somebody else, way
Right.
down the line. Nah. And I think I said it in the comments before, but we have a name for that when the man benefits from when the women working.
What do you
Big
call it?
pimpin', spin the cheese with me. Big pimpin'.
He's like, better hit that track and bring my money back.
Exactly. No, I'm too old, James. I'm too old.
I heard that. You'll be
Can't
both.
do it. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support through helping the channel out and coming through
Oh,
and
no
leaving your
problem.
comments.
Great
Appreciate you. Let me
calling
give you
in.
something before you go, though. Let me hook you up
Okay.
with a thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Keep on doing the good job. You're wonderful. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you. Have a great
Bye,
night.
chat. Good
All
night.
right. All right, y'all got the Bronze Empress in the house. Thank you so much for calling in, Bronze Empress. That's awesome. It's nice chatting with you. Yeah, guys, we're gonna. I like this. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, yep, yeah. Supposed to be watching them. Yeah, I appreciate you guys all calling in and stuff. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to do more of these because this was a lot of fun, and I enjoy getting different perspectives, different ideas, and different viewpoints on everything. So I really appreciate everybody being super cool, especially in the chat, and keeping everything lively. I'm gonna go wrap this bad boy up because I've kept you long enough, people. I've kept you long enough. But this was an amazing night. Thank you guys so much. Next week, we're going to be back in the house and we're going to address Robyn in the Becoming Sister Wives chapter of Celebrity. I was going to do it tonight, y'all. I was going to do it tonight, but I looked at it, and especially with Jenny, Jenny was trying to drop hints to me because she's like, "Oh, I really want to do it," because she hasn't been able to do any of the Robyn stuff. But I was going to do it tonight. I looked at it. That thing is action packed. So I'm telling you, next week is going to be off the hook. It's going to be off the hook. We talking about this damn chapter with Robyn talking about celebrity. Okay. I'm probably going to forego giving her the benefit of the doubt as we go through because there's a lot of stuff that she says. In fact, I might drop a companion video, a little small 10-minute video or whatever, talking about some of the issues that I saw in this chapter because it was so crazy. All right. So thank you guys so much. This was a good time. I had a great time. Everybody who called in, Lizzie B, Bronze Empress, Brittany, not Brittany. Thank you guys so much. Art, Alex, everybody for calling in, being super cool. I appreciate you. Lizzie being in the house. Thank you so much for moderating for me. I appreciate you. I think J Baby's doing it also. I haven't seen her in the chat. I think she's here too. But she's got in from work not long ago. But yeah, great comments, everybody. Thank you guys for being positive. Next week, make sure you come back because we're still going to continue with the Becoming Sister Wives chapter. Again, Robyn and celebrity talking about being famous, y'all. Well, you got to be known for something, I guess. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I hope you had a great evening. Make sure you take care of yourselves all the way through this week and take care of your best interest. And again, if we could take anything from the conversations that we had tonight, one of the big things or one of my big takeaways is the constant reminder. Like I said, the only way people can walk all over you is if you lay down for them first. 1, 2, the other piece of advice that I'd heard a long time ago: strong fences make for good neighbors, strong boundaries, and you deciding what you want for yourself and holding those boundaries, holding those lines, holding those standards for yourself helps you not only to maintain your own sense of sanity so you don't snap out on somebody, but it also helps you to cultivate and nurture the relationships that you have the way and direct them to move in the way that you want them to move. So essentially, if you are in a relationship and you set boundaries for yourself and these guidelines, these red lines are lines that shouldn't be crossed, and these boundaries are guidelines or things that you're going to stick to, and you're dead ass about it, and the person realizes you're serious about it, then they have to act accordingly if they want to continue to be in your situation. And this goes to the whole sense of not compromising yourself. Like, it's okay for you to take other people into consideration, but don't put people ahead of you. Don't put yourself down so that you can lift somebody up. And I think that that's one of the things that we saw, because like I said, if we're going to give Robyn the benefit of the doubt, in the best case scenario, here's my closing argument. If I want to give Robyn the best possible look on this, first things first, one, I have to acknowledge the fact that she does make sacrifices or try to make the most positive situation for her kids as possible. A lot of things that she does, she set her kids up in a really strong financial sense, especially with respect to just the show, things that we see on the show and how she's done it on the show. Her kids are light years ahead of the other kids as far as the finances are concerned because of the way she set herself up. Just talking about the resources that are allocated from the Brown family. Now, the other wives had to go out and make their own money outside the Brown family so that they could take care of their families and their kids. But what Robyn was able to do with the Brown family, she put herself and her kids first. The second thing that I can say about thing I can say about Robyn, if we ignore everything that we've seen on the show and pretend like none of it's happened or it's just bad edits, is that she is superbly naive, but I don't think any of that's true. So it's hard for me to get around it. The only other thing I can say is the way, like something that Brittany said, is that if she really wants to get herself out from under, she has to take accountability for the things that she did, the part that she played. She's going to have to throw Kody's ass clean under the bus as the person who drove a lot of the problems and created a lot of the issues, didn't stop her from doing it. And she's going to have to acknowledge, like the thing with the dress, the thing with not you standing up for the other kids or defending the other kids in the family the way she would defend her kids. Because I guarantee you, if one of her kids had to go to surgery and it was COVID or whatever pandemic panorama situation was going on, she would have stood 10 toes down and made Kody do the right thing for her kids. But she didn't have that same energy for the other children involved in the family, and that showed. And that was one of the things that kind of that she's going to have to take accountability for. But all that being said, guys, whew, I got to tell you, my back hurt doing all this heavy lifting. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you so much. That's my take. I'm James. This has been my take on reality. And I'm out. Have a good night, guys.